Record. All right. And recording. And it is now approaching the going live on Facebook moment.
Oh boy, I'm so nervous.
Right?
Everyone knows Facebook is where the cool kids hang out.
Or that's where the people our age hang out, one of the two.
Are you insinuating there are other cool kids?
I think the kids hang out.
All righty. Share to your page. Go live. All right.
Sure. Get your sure.
Here we are preparing the live stream. It is loading. So we will be live streaming in just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. And won't that be exciting? Got it. All right. And there we go. Well, here we are, and welcome everyone to session 1 of our new campaign, Ravenloft, Vanity's Bloodsong. Ravenloft is the D&D classic horror setting, and as such, this campaign will include themes of horror. You have been warned. That said, we'd like to keep things PG-13 around here. The characters of this campaign have already played through Descent into Avernus. To explore their adventures, see the Sage of Sorcery YouTube channel. And now, my friends, let's go ahead and introduce our players and their characters, starting with JT.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name's JT. I play Anduriel. He is a vampire, spooky cleric of Naylock, who is the god of death and shadow. A memorable moment from my character in past seasons was things were looking pretty hairy for our group, and Anduriel had the opportunity to sacrifice himself for the group, which in and of itself he doesn't do. But to add to that, he met his mother, who has been trying to kill him for a long time, and found out that she is in fact Nathkashara, the angel of death and of sacrifice. And so that was kind of an interesting meeting for this young man and his angel mother.
Cool. Hey guys, so I'm Ben. I play Morokon. He is the cleric monk of Hamina. She's the goddess of the sun and light and paths. And probably the most memorable moment for my character last season was probably one of the most D&D things to ever happen. So we were negotiating with a djinn, I believe it was, right? So yeah, we were negotiating with a djinn, and we were given a choice of option A, option B, and we invented a third option wherein my character ended up getting married. And that's how we were able to get some sacrificial blood. It was interesting. But so yeah, and Morokon has regretted that decision ever since.
She's not a nice fish, Morokon's wife.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, I am Tommy Hill, and I play Odelia. There's my beautiful daughter, Jamie. I play Odelia Almiron, who is a cleric of the water goddess Moiris. And I am mostly cleric, but I have a few wee anger management issues. Mostly just when my mama bear needs to come out. My favorite moment of the last campaign, well, there were so many, but one that springs immediately to mind is when we were fighting a bunch of demons and devils and whatnot with a whole town square full of people, and I realized that 4E is quite over OP with the bless ability, and I was able to give bless to the entire town square full of people, and that was pretty awesome.
And wet. Didn't we decide that when she casts bless,
yes, it's all the gentle rain. It's just a wee boosty.
You're muted, John.
I thought I unmuted. Troubleshooting.
But we hear you now.
Yeah. My name is John Christie. I need to pull up the thing I wrote again because otherwise I'll forget what I was talking about. I play Thora Mikitas, druid of Fin Hefara, the goddess of the earth. And my most memorable moment is going to sound pretty cheesy because it was like the climax of the final episode, which was when Thora took part in convincing Zariel to take up her sword once again.
Very
That was
nice.
awesome.
It was a pretty cool moment. And we didn't end up killing her, which was great, unless we did. Oh, I guess you'll have to go back and watch.
If we did, it was on
And-
accident.
Yeah. Or on purpose on behalf of half the party and an accident on behalf of the other half. It depends.
Right. Semantics.
Semantics, yes. So we would like
Or
to
we just could
welcome
have been dumb.
that too is also an option. And I am Sage of Sorcery, also known as Matt. I am your humble dungeon master, and we are very happy to be with you. And hopefully we can forget if anybody's watching and just kind of do our thing, because I think that's when we'll have the most fun. We are primarily here to have some spooky fun. It's Halloween. Some of us in this group absolutely adore Halloween. And if you were to pass our homes during this season, you would find quite a number of decorations in our front yards and homes. And so we are really happy to do a Ravenloft campaign. And without further ado, let's go ahead and leap into this bad boy. Unless somebody has something else to say, go for it.
I may have bought the 15-foot tall skeleton from Home Depot.
Woo!
Yes. Welcome to the family, John. You're my
Yay.
yes.
We tried to get the dragon this year, but I didn't check out, and then it was gone again by the time I got there. That's really sad.
That is a tragedy. And that happened to me with my animatronic witch. I have the lunging animatronic witch, but I wanted her so much that I went on Amazon and got her before she became too expensive. So we are all in good company here. And we will now go ahead and begin this lovely, lovely moment. And now watch me do a technical thing so that you can experience just a little bit more.
All the things, technical things.
All
are
the
my favorite
things.
Along with rainbow or whiskers on kittens and something on my mittens and
all of the bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. All right, I am now sharing my audio, which will allow you to experience just a few things. If you give me 1 second, including just a wee bit intro.
oh, there we go. That's spooky.
You can hear it now.
And here we go. Nearly 2 years have passed since the party returned from Avernus, and the city of Horta was transported back to the world of Ienia. Upon return, you were greeted by the news that the first vampire, Namithet, was back in the world, and that the fault lay with the previous Hallowed Council. As you are each founding members of the restored Hallowed Council, the Eastlands looked to you to protect it. You recently reported to your individual temples for training, but Anduriel returned with a lead, suggesting that the first vampire may have fled to the island of Desmair, a province of Morokhan's home country of New Tarsa. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be a little bit of our pickup. So you find yourselves running like a cat with its tail on fire, desperately trying to catch your ship, the Lady's Errand, as it begins to pull up anchor and leave the harbor of the city of Lair. You left Horta with a few days to spare, but along the way, Odelia insisted that you stop to find some missing children in the city that belonged to a fisherman's family that she knew. Well, basically what happened was you tracked these children to a cave of marrows or sea ogres. and a fight ensued. Things got a little bit bloody. And then in the course of the fight, and after Sibella, the child ward of the coalition or the fellowship, ran away, and Sister Fadaver ran after her. It was then that everyone realized that because of Odelia's sidetrack, you only had a few hours left to make the Ladies' Errand's departure. And so you are bolting down the pier, all of you, and Thora is bolting too. But how does Thora bolt, John?
Interestingly, with his cybernetic enhanced arm and leg. So I'm imagining more of like it's like a gallop. One leg definitely has more power than the other, so he like jog with one leg, leap with other leg, jog with one leg, leap with other.
Yeah, which is perhaps a bit of a spectacle, because while he was in Avernus, Thora gained, they were forced upon him when he was captured by Bel, an arm and a leg that are made of Hellforged steel. And so he's running down the pier, and it's clunk, step, clunk, step, clunk. Like, then every few seconds there's a thud, and the rest of you are running. My question is, any comments as you run down the docks toward the ship, perhaps as Odelia leads the way?
Odelia is definitely leading the way.
Well, Odelia is
I
leading
don't know
the
how
way.
that's possible. I just have wee little legs.
Yes, but you know where the ship is.
Well, then Anduriel is certainly a little bit like, I cannot believe the shortest one is leading us here. But can you pick up the pace a little bit? Look at him. He could barely keep up.
I'm running as fast as I can.
Well, like I said, maybe not go so fast for Clunky over here to keep up, but I'm sure we could go a little bit faster. Can we not?
Odelia, which ship is it?
It's the Ladies' Errand. Just go. It's just at the dock. Just go. You can find it. I'll catch up.
And Duriel takes that invitation and goes.
Okay. Morocon, have anything to say?
Big people. Ugh.
Odelia, how would you like to get there faster?
I would love that. Do you have an idea? Do you have some kind of, I mean, you're not going to throw me again, are you?
No, nothing like that. But I do pick her up, and I start sprinting down the streets like Earl Campbell. Just
Okay, nice dragon man. That's fine.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Yoda?
Do.
Yes.
As all of them sprint ahead, Thora activates his leg and leaps all the way to the dock. Just jumps.
All right.
Full
Did we
on
know he
Hulk.
could do that? She yells up to Morocon. Did you know he could do that?
that's news to me. Would you like to carry her, Thora?
60 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Throw me up there.
He's way ahead of you at this point. Thor, like there's almost like a rocket ship, like as he fires off that golem limb of his and
I'll mark
uses
that off.
And so
We're gonna have just a whole bunch of memes of the $6 million man throughout this campaign, aren't we?
and it's a good thing he did that, because Thora, you land right in front of the ship, the Ladies' Errand, just as two sailors are hoisting the anchor and dropping the sails, and they're pulling the gangplank up off of the side of the pier. Like, and then you land in front of it, and they both look up, and they go like, ah! Like just like that.
And Thora, like, almost robotically goes, "We do have 3 more people joining," and grabs the gangplank with his much stronger arm and puts it back in place.
Okay. All right. So there are 2 sailors there. One of them is younger, looks like he's about 26, and his lip curls and as he looks at you, but kind of like in an eager way. And he grins at you, but like the grin is disturbing. The other sailor is quite a bit older, probably in his mid 40s, looks gristled. Their clothing is predictably shabby. It suffers the wear and tear of ocean travel. and it's pretty drab, also grays and blacks and beiges and whatnot, pants and just a shirt. And the older one is carrying what looks to be some kind of clipboard or booklet or something like that. And he looks up and starts flipping through the pages and just he's like growling under his breath, like literally going like that. And then he looks up at you, looks up at everybody else, and gets a little irritated, but he says, "You're all late. Passengers were to come aboard an hour before cast-off." And then he looks down at this manifest again, and he says, "There are supposed to be 6 of you. Where is the girl?"
Oh, Sabella. She got hung up.
And Dario's gonna step forward. They're all. How many of us? There's 4 of us. There are 4 of us. We are, as you said, late. We would hate to be even later. Shall we board?
Well, the captain's not going to like it, but come aboard. This is McCracken. He'll show you to your cabins, such as they are.
This is my dragon. And he points to Morocon.
Okay. He looks at you, and the man that he indicated as McCracken looks at you and is like, huh, dragon. Interesting. And the other sailor, the older one, just waves at you like, come aboard, hurry up. And you all aboard?
After you.
Stroll aboard, yep.
Ready.
Yep, on we go.
So you all board the Lady's Errand, and I'm going to need each one of you to make a perception check. Odelia, because you are a priestess of the water goddess and you are a rainmaker. If you will recall, your character class, prestige class, lets you make 2 rolls on multiple different skills that are related to the water. So you may roll twice for this perception check.
21.
Ah! I got a 1.
Okay, so you are looking straight up at the sky and you swear one of the clouds looks like cheese, like you're sure of it.
It's Gouda.
19.
19?
The cave-age Gruyere up there.
Okay.
Hey guys, look at that. Look at that cloud, you guys.
All right, a 1, a 19, and Duriel, what did you get?
21.
21, and Odelia.
Is that under intelligence? Because I don't see one that says perception.
You may not be
Skills.
trained in it. Is it under your skills? In the center of your character sheet?
Oh, there we go. I don't see perception anywhere.
Okay, so you're
I was
making
looking under abilities or skills.
an untrained skill check. Then you may add half your level, which is 5, and your wisdom modifier.
All right.
Remember, you get to roll twice.
Oh, don't worry, I already did. You'll be very impressed to know that that's a 19.
On the die?
No, with the modifiers.
Okay, with the modifiers. All right.
E2.
So you all are coming up the side of the gangway onto that they were pulling up, that they slammed down again. And the older sailor's grouchy. And as you walk up, you all notice that the name of the ship is painted in gold letters, the Lady's Errand, on the side of the ship. But here's what you notice. The paint is fresh, and only Anduriel notices that there has been another ship name painted underneath it that you can just barely detect. And what you detect, Anduriel, is that the name painted on the side used to be the Lady's Pleasure, and that they have painted over it, which is kind of an oddity. You're not really sure what that means, but you could ask Odelia, who of course has spent quite a bit of time on ships, if you chose to.
Anduriel will kind of like nudge her with his elbow as they're walking. Odelia, No, do you notice anything interesting about the lettering on that boat? Doesn't it say the lady's pleasure?
Does Odelia have any knowledge about that?
You do. Let's have Odelia make a history check. Do you have that skill?
Nope.
Okay, so 5 plus your intelligence modifier if you
Oh, my
have one.
dice made a run for it. Oh, my word. Okay.
You will need to hold on to the die.
Wrangle those
I can't
die.
hold on to it and roll it at the same time.
You
16.
would if you believe. No, go ahead.
16.
Okay, so here's what you know, Odelia. People change the names of ships occasionally for one reason or another, but sailors are awfully superstitious about it. And so they don't tend to want to change the name of a ship. They almost feel like it's a betrayal, but they do change the names of ships for nefarious reasons.
Oh, no, I accidentally started my TV. Oh my gosh. I'm sitting on the remote. Sorry.
Agabagoo, stop
Oh
that
my gosh,
TV.
you guys.
I thought your house was like haunted. Like, crap, she's got ghosts. Now what are we gonna do?
Already.
This
A
is where the
true
horror
spook.
starts. Murdoch Mysteries is coming after you. Yeah, usually it means they're up to no good. But has Odelia, so she knew where the ship was, but does she have any knowledge of this exact ship or the crew or anything?
You rolled a 15 total on your history check. 16. Okay, you've never heard of a ship called the Lady's Errand or the Lady's Pleasure. You've heard of several other ships that are known by the Lady's something, but wouldn't seem to be any one of these. So,
I make a mental note that I'm going to do some investigating about that.
okay, and there will be time to do any number of investigations, hopefully. So as you all board up, and McCracken, the other sailor, starts leading you back to where the cabins are. He takes you to the bow of the ship, which I believe, if I am remembering correctly, is the front part of it. So he takes you up to the bow of the ship, and you can see there's a small door on the right front side of the ship to the right of the mast. And it's very interesting. So in any case, you see that, and then something draws your attention right before McCracken pulls the door open to your cabins. You see the captain's cabin door open, and out walks a powerfully built, grizzled old man dressed in a worn blue coat that at one time was awfully nice or ornamental. And he has a mane of long gray hair and a thick beard, and he's smoking a gnarled wooden pipe. And as he walks across the ship, he just glares at the other sailors as they go about getting the ship underway, dropping the sail and pulling up the anchor. And he looks us over, but he doesn't say anything. And as you watch, you see the other sailors, they skitter away from him a little bit as he walks to where they are. And you can see that it's almost just like his glare itself is enough to get them working harder. You know, when you're supposed to be doing something and your parents all of a sudden walk in the room and suddenly you're trying 10 times harder than you were. It's that kind of a situation. And he doesn't even have to say anything. And then he just goes back to the opposite end of the ship, up above the poop deck, and he gets on top of that second part behind the little steering column there, a steering wheel, whatever you call it. And he takes his place there, waiting for everybody to kind of make ready. And the Lady's Errand slowly begins to pull out of Layer's dock. We have quite the sea voyage ahead of us.
Dora is already talking to whatever rats
Are on the ship?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
Well, you don't see
that's why
any-
he was distracted from the name on the ship. He was talking to the vermin that live on it.
To the
instead.
So
vermin.
many new friends. Yay.
Well, I guarantee you he sees bugs, but he doesn't see as yet any rats. You might have to do some searching, but there will be that opportunity.
A
So,
little roach friend.
McCracken takes you guys to the bow of the ship, opens that door, and there is a small hallway that leads to just a bunch of different cabins, and they're tiny. On a map, it's no more than maybe 3 squares at the most, and the room all the way at the corner only has 2 squares. So now it's up to determine who is going to be in what cabin. So McCracken looks back and he goes, "All right, who is staying in which cabin?"
And Dario goes to the bigger one and the one that looks the nicest. He's just gonna walk in.
Okay. All right. That would be the very first cabin. That's 5 squares. A little bit of a bigger bed in there. So Enduriel, you go into the first cabin.
He just says, "Yes, excuse me."
Okay.
And he's just gonna push in there.
Do
Okay.
any of these cabins have like those onboard swinging hammock beds?
Yes. As you go
Amelia
through.
loves her hammock bed.
Okay. So the smallest cabin at the end, which is only like 2 squares, just has 1 hammock strung up in it, and that's all that's in that room.
Odelia says, "If it's all right with you boys, I'll take this one."
Okay.
Fine with me.
And that leaves Thora and Morocon in the 4 squares to share a bed and a
I'll
hammock.
try to take the. Oh. I'll try to take the hammock that's closest to the window.
There is no
Thora?
window, my friend.
No porthole.
No porthole.
None of these cabins have any kind of a view. They are all enclosed like a box.
Take as much space as you need. I can sleep pretty much anywhere. And he'll like even just like take his cloak and just kind of wrap it around himself and like curl up in the corner.
Okay. Alrighty, so the ship is well underway at this point, and it begins to move a little bit more, and the hammock begins to swing back and forth, Odelia, which could lull you to sleep. And then there is a bell after a short time that none of you really knows what it means. Odelia might. The rest of you aren't quite sure what it means. Nevertheless, you hear a ding, ding.
What does it mean that Odelia knows?
Well, it usually means it's chow. It could also mean there's an alarm, but basically it means come to the deck of the ship.
Everybody come. So she'll hop sprightly out of her hammock and go knock up the other cabins and say, "That means come up to the deck, boys."
Oh, thank you, Odelia. And he'll.
What time of day is it right now?
It's the early afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, figure like 2
Okay.
o'clock, somewhere around there. So you all come out to the deck of the ship.
Yeah,
Oh,
after
sure.
Thora
Yeah.
built his nest.
Okay.
He's got some.
So I picture Thora as kind of like Mole or Moliere from the Atlantis movie. He's like making himself a little burrow or something like that.
Not quite as dirty, but yeah, very similar.
Okay.
Like he's used to like living out in fields, so like he's used to just like finding the nicest spot in the middle of nowhere and sleeping there.
Okay. So you guys slowly come out onto the deck, and you see the men are kind of like tightening things up. They're trimming the sail just a little bit so that everything's ready to go. The captain is standing in front of the cabin, and as the men kind of get everything set and ready here to go and for the captain to address, they break into song, which isn't a strange thing for sailors to do while they're working, and it seems just kind of like a work song, but they break into song and they go, "Once upon a time, the sun refused to shine. For 1,000 years, with 1,000 fears, children of night would dine. They dined on elf and man, on halfling and dwarven clans. The moon would weep, the sun would sleep, and the shadow men would dance." And it's kind of macabre, but they're singing it like we represent the Lollipop League from like the Wizard of Oz or something.
We represent the Lollipop Guild.
That's about how joyful as they sing this song. So would you all make a history check, please? And Duriel, you can roll twice. If you're not trained in history, then you had 5 in your intelligence modifier.
5 in your int. Got it.
56.
I forgot he's not smart. 15.
Ooh, okay.
24.
24.
I am actually trained in history.
Bedelia?
16.
16. Okay. So only Morokhan and Enduriel have really heard of this song before. It's almost a nursery rhyme, and it tells the story of the Night Rain, Reign. It's a legendary age when vampire kingdoms darkened the skies and almost ended the world of the living on this world, Eonia. And mothers tell stories about the Night Rain to scare their children, and it's a pretty horrific time period. It's half legendary. Some people don't even think that it ever really happened. But Morokhan and Enduriel, it makes sense that both of you would know for very different reasons. But certainly a creepy. Odelia, you're like, this doesn't sound like any chanty you've ever heard before. Not to mention the fact that they just sang about dining on elves and dwarves. Any reaction?
And Duriel's just kind of taking it in like, the good old days, like, isn't this a great song? I like
song.
He's gonna turn to Thora. I like this boat.
Can I make
enough,
just
yeah,
like
can
I
I
make
do
a
like that
general
song.
vibe check?
You want to read the room, Thora?
Are you?
Yeah, I have a high
Trading
insight,
vibe?
so
Okay, you can make an insight check.
oh dip. Oh crap. Math. 33.
Okay.
Jeez.
So you're looking around.
16 plus 17.
I'm assuming you're trying to get a vibe of the captain and the crew.
Yeah.
Okay, the captain, he has an air of cruelty about him, which isn't uncommon necessarily for a ship's captain to have. Odelia would tell you, but he does have an aura of cruelty about him that keeps everybody in line. But you kind of sense that it goes a little bit deeper. He seems like the kind of man who would enjoy hurting people. And what you get off of the crew is they like bloodshed. Like they're kind of vicious. The way that they were reacting while they were singing that song, and you're starting to wonder if maybe this is a pirate ship.
I don't know if I like this ship. Something about it seems wrong.
What
Who
are
do
you
you say
talking
that to?
about? What are you
Well-
talking about? They have bugs, they have rats. What else do you? I mean, this is like your boat.
Yes, but I'm empathetic. These people seem like sociopaths.
Don't be so hard on yourself. You're all right. You're not pathetic.
Sorry. No, the stories I've heard of Odelia on ships and the few ships I've been on have always talked about people like this as if they were lawless, cruel, vagabond, psychopaths.
Speaking of pirates, huh? Oh, Odelia, who gave us this assignment to be on this ship anyway?
I think it came from the leaders of the Hallowed Council, didn't it? I mean, they sent us on this mission. For
Why would they put four of the head members of the Divine Fellowship? on
Maybe
this.
they think we can share some light with these, this interesting bunch.
Well, I have some things I could share, but I don't know how light they are.
How's the crew look? Like, how beaten down do they look?
They don't look so much beaten down as just weathered. Like their clothes, and their appearance are very disheveled, but even more disheveled than the average sailor. Like nobody here is shaving regularly. Let me put it that way. And they're not very kempt. They don't look like they brush their teeth very often. I mean, they're even more rough around the edges than the average sailor.
It's like Muppet Treasure Island when they get on the ship and it's all the like totally sketchy Muppets.
It's the sketchy Muppets, but like
the
6 months into the pandemic. Like that's the kind of neglect. That's the kind of neglect we're seeing. Everybody kind of stopped brushing their teeth, and you're looking at them and you're like, well, I hope they use the chamber pot. Like little turning there. Incidentally, none of you saw a chamber pot in your cabins. Throwing that out there.
Small detail.
Let it hang off the side.
Okay.
Yet another place that is not prepared for women.
Okay.
Makes me crazy.
It's not a beautiful accommodation here. So the captain speaks up and interrupts your banter back and forth. Not that anybody was really paying attention to you. And he says, "We are bound for the island of Desmair. It will be at least 3 weeks, if not longer, to cross around the northern peninsula." And he says, "I expect that there will be no troubles and that no one will cause any problems." And then he looks at the four of you. And that's all he says in regards to that. And then he says, "Dinner will be in about 15 minutes. You may eat on the deck or you may eat in your cabins if you wish. Mr. Spindlecut is preparing a stew for the evening. I am Captain Slaymore, and this is the crew." And he points around to that grizzled old sailor with a manifest he points to. And he says, "That is my first mate. Gregor is his name." And he says, "The rest of their names, I don't care if you know. While you are on this ship, you will obey my orders as if you were one of the crew. Are there any questions?"
How strict are you on that last bit?
Hey, he looks at you and he just leans over and sneers a little bit.
Oh no, son. There'll be no intimidating of me.
Andrew, make an insight check, please.
That is a 16 on the dice, so 19.
Okay. You get the idea, the sense that he's taking your measure, but he's doing it in some way that you can't understand. Like, I'm not saying he's looking into your soul. He doesn't seem like that kind of an insightful guy. But he is looking at you and somehow seeing more than he should be seeing, but you can't really figure it out.
Ooh,
Cora, you may make a perception check to see if you notice, but you're going to have to roll really high.
That is 27.
You swear that he just sniffed Anduriel. But from the distance that he's at right now, that would be very impressive. Like, to catch somebody's scent, only a predator would have that kind of senses. But you swear he just inhaled on purpose while he was trying to glare at Anduriel, but it was gone so quickly. You're like, did he just sniff him? You're like,
wouldn't be the first time. Anduriel's just gonna kind of respect that kind of predatory, like a predator thing. He's gonna look, Captain. We are here to represent the Hallowed Council. We will not trouble you or
he
your
walks
crew.
away from you while you're talking mid-sentence.
Anduriel goes and stands in front of him.
Okay.
Oh
The
goodness,
door-
it's a Rudolph.
The door swings wide open. To the door to the, or not the door, sorry, up the steps comes tromping a figure that kind of draws your attention, and she goes, "Here now, the suit's on, all of you!" She comes out with a big pot, this big cast iron pot, and she's one-arming it as she walks up the stairs. This is a big, ruddy-cheeked, red-nosed woman with a shock of flaming red hair pulled back in to a ball, a bun behind her, wrapped up. Freckles to beat the band, big red nose, looks like maybe she's had a wee bit of the recipe, and she's one-arming this enormous pot, like cast iron pot, and in her other arm, she is holding just a stack of bowls, and she puts the bowls out on the deck. There's no table, there's no nothing, and starts slopping everybody. And Duriel, you turn back and see her. The cabin goes in the door, and he into the poop deck, and he slams the door in your face.
I'm not one to give up on a meal.
I'll look at Odelia, but when in Rome, and I go to grab a bowl.
Thora and Morocon are of the same opinion.
Okay, so the Dragonborn and the half-elf druid go straight for the grub. They're like, "Ooh, food!"
Odelia spent enough time on ship to know that it's probably not going to be great, but that's all there is of it. So
And Duriel's going to take that time to go explore the ship. He's curious now.
All right, where are you going, Anduriel? There is the spiral staircase that she went down, which is kind of in the top right hand, and then there's the door to your cabins, and then there's the captain's door.
I'm going to go up the spiral staircase.
You go down the spiral staircase?
Down the spiral, yes. Down the spiral staircase.
Because this isn't a triple-decker bus ship. You can't go up. You're going to have to go down.
It's not like the night bus.
Yeah, this is not a night bus situation. All right, so you guys go to grab the food, and then Duriel makes kind of a beeline. And when you do that, Anduriel, do you remember that young sailor who showed you where the cabins were, McCracken?
Oh, yeah. No.
He steps in front of you and blocks the way to the staircase, and he looks and he goes, I don't think you heard. Mrs. Spindlecut brought the food. And he looks at you and he says, you don't want to hurt Mrs. Spindlecut's feelings, do you?
Oh, of course not. Lead the way, good sir.
And he points over to her.
Yes, lead the way. I do believe I spoke slowly enough, but lead the way.
He points over to her. And he looks at you, Anduriel, and he smiles even wider. Like he's having, this is great fun.
And Duriel's just going to return his smile. He's like, yes, whenever you're ready, we can go eat some victuals. Is that what you call it on this boat, victuals?
All right, he says, oh, that will be most delicious. Mrs. Spindlecut is quite the cook. And he looks at you and he says, but of course, passengers first.
Oh, no, from what your captain was saying, we're part of the crew. We take orders same as you.
And he looks at you and he laughs and he goes, ah, I like you.
I'm actually beginning to like you too.
Good, then go eat.
I don't know. Fine. So Edgar is just going to be like, roll his eyes, whatever. He's going to go sit by his friends and just be like, I'm going around the ship later. Does anybody want to come?
Oh, for sure. Well,
Alrighty.
Odelia has something she wants to do when there's a moment.
All right, go ahead, Odelia.
So as soon as all the sailors have fairly settled themselves with their stew, Odelia is going to stand up somewhere, probably climb up on a barrel on the deck,
Okay.
because she's just weak, and say, hello, and thank you for the very warm welcome that you've given us to your ship. As you may or may not know, we're all from the Divine Fellowship, so whatever your faith tradition is, there's probably one of us who can help you. I am personally a representative of Moiris, the water goddess. So some of you lovely seafaring folk may be followers of Moiris. And I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know that I will be hosting a lovely spiritual thought this evening before we all turn in. Because she wants to gauge everybody's reaction to that.
Okay. Mrs. Spindlecut is, ladling out the stew into these bowls, and she's not skimping on the portions, by the way. She lays out a thick bit of stew, and as you kind of all the sailors are about to take a bite, and you're like, I'm a priestess of Moiris, and they all go, and they look like you just spit in their bean curd. Like, some of them wrinkle their noses, and others of them, they sneer a little bit, and then they go back to their food. And what's really odd about this, Odelia, is how do folk usually react to having a priest of Moiris on board?
Well, I mean, people like having the favor of the water goddess.
They love it. So, in fact, there are some peacekeeping vessels that won't set sail without a cleric of Moiris on board, because they have the superstition that the ship can't sink if one of the ocean goddess's priests is on board. And you're not used to this kind of a reception on the ship, so they go back to eating and ignore you. And Mrs. Spindlecut looks at you and she goes, oh, aye, we've all had enough religion, I think. Why don't you just eat your stew, lass, and get down off the bitter before you fall off the other side of the ocean?
I think I'd be all right. I'm a really good swimmer.
And she looks at you and she says, oh, I bet you're not as good as me.
Can I do like an insight check or something? Is she just being friendly, or is she being threatening?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
Ooh. If it's not listed on here, would that just be the 5?
5 and your wisdom modifier if you don't have the skill.
All right, that's 22.
Okay, so you're kind of studying her quickly. She seems pretty playful. Like, she thinks it would be great fun to have a race or something like that. And from the amount of girth that she has on her, you're pretty sure that she floats effectively. She's a stout woman, obviously tries her own cooking and whatnot, but she ladles it out and smiles at you, and she says, well, now, eat up, all of you. We've got to finish it, get down to the bottom so we can fill it again tomorrow.
I'm happy to do my part. And she jumps down and digs in.
Okay. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good. It's got chunks of potatoes and carrots, and she shaved the carrots, okay? And, she shaved them. She didn't even cut them, and the stew, the meat, it tastes like lamb's meat. It's spiced just perfectly. There's just enough amount of kick to it to be considered flavorful, but not enough to be considered too spicy for someone that doesn't enjoy it. It's like she's been cooking for you her whole life, and it's that good. And you swear that, like, there's like a pieces of chocolate in it, maybe. You have this lovely chocolatey aftertaste that you're just like, and when you eat it, you feel so full. You feel like this woman may be a priestess of the food goddess, or the cooking goddess. And Odelia, that would be Cirillali, the halfling goddess of the home, is the closest you come to. Anyway, it's that good. And she also pulls out of her apron, wrapped up in a clean cloth, even though her apron is disgustingly filthy dirty. She pulls out loaves of warm, hot bread, and breaks up crusts of bread and passes it out. And it is that good. So, in any case, Anduriel, are you also eating?
Yes, he is.
Will we assume that Anduriel has fed today before leaving on this voyage? It would seem wise.
He's eating just to fit in.
Okay. But we'll assume that Anduriel has fed
Yes.
today,
yes.
because it would be unwise of him to start. Now you realize this is going
He's
to
been
become,
doing this. He's been doing this long enough to know. Yeah.
Yes, this is going to become a bigger problem as time goes on, being that Anduriel.
Yeah, we're gonna be on the water for like 3 weeks. Oh,
You're going to be on a boat for 3 weeks with a hungry vampire.
That's why Matt didn't make any of these people very sympathetic.
Because
The DM always provides food.
because they might be snacks. Is that what you're saying, Tommy? Yeah.
Don't get attached.
Yeah. Well,
But
Duncan.
I really like the chef. Don't eat her, please.
You don't say that out loud, do you?
I mean, I might have a word with Anduriel later,
Later.
just
Okay.
in private.
Oh, don't be a simpleton. I don't eat people. I drink blood. They all live.
Orocon's gonna try to make eye contact with Anduriel and just look at his him and his bowl and are you gonna finish that? Because if not,
He again rolls his eyes a little bit, shifts his bowl over to Moroccan.
Okay. So the crew don't say one word while they're eating, and I might also mention that their table manners leave much to be desired. They don't.
so does Morocon's.
You know, like they just wolf it down and they don't care, and it's almost like you know, Oliver Twist or something. They hand up their bowls and she fills it again, and just kind of fills it. And there's plenty, and everybody's, but they literally eat until the pot that the cast iron pot she one arm up those stairs is empty. Like she scraped the bottom and fills everybody bowls. And
that sound is awful.
they all, I mean, she'll fill your bowl. There's plenty for everyone to have seconds. Some of them eat thirds and fourths. And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. But in any case,
Morocon keeps eating until it becomes a contest.
okay. So that's the actual first time any of them really take sincere note of you. So if you Morocon, you down it, hand up the bowl again, she fills it again, and she giggles while she watches you eat. And she says, "Whew, I dare say we'll be fattening all of you up before the day is done. How many can you eat, lad?"
Well, keep serving it, and I'll keep throwing it down the hatch.
Okay. Alrighty, it's fantastic. You with everybody else, Morocon, you manage about 4 bowls, and when you get to the 5th one, she's scraped the end of it, and there's barely any left. And how much does Odelia put down?
More than you might think that a halfling could, but also she is of the make sure everybody's had enough, so she doesn't go crazy or anything.
Yeah. So she's momming everybody with her portion. I can respect
sure.
that. Okay, very good. All right, they all eat. They leave their bowls, and Mrs. Spindlecut picks up all the bowls, stacks them up again, and goes lugging the whole thing down the spiral staircase to the lower level of the ship.
As she heads down, Thora will be like, "Do you need any assistance scouring the dishes?"
Oh, away with you! I didn't need any help from the likes of ye. Look at your wee thing and your sweet offerings. Aren't you a tasty little morsel? And then she looks at you like she wants to pinch your cheek, but she's too far away.
Okay. Need offer.
And wanders down into the lower level of the ship. So the sailors all go back about their duties, about cleaning. There's a couple of guys who are at the mast, just kind of keeping it tight, making sure that everything is in order. The first mate kind of walks around barking orders at people. That's Gregor. And a lot of people. There's a younger sailor who's kind of working the sails, and the captain, after a moment, he comes back out and he takes the helm and whatnot. You do notice at one point a child pop his head up out of the spiral staircase and just kind of look up around like this at everybody. And then you hear Mrs. Spindlecut bellow, "Oi, you cheeky little bugger! You get back down and scour in the pots, or before I come up there and I'll beat you with a broom!" And then, like a mouse, bing, darts right back down below and back to whatever it was that he was doing. And
see why she didn't need help scouring the pans.
well, there you go. And who knows what is going on down there. Anyway, they all do that. And the younger sailor, the one with a big smile, just kind of stands over there next to the spiral staircase while the rest of them go about their business. Not like he's blocking the staircase, but he does seem to be guarding it somehow.
He very much is blocking the staircase.
Well, he's not. I mean, you could go down there, but you're going to have to walk past him if you're going to go down the staircase.
I guess I look around to see if there's anything of interest, and if there's not, I'm just gonna go down the staircase again.
Okay.
Try.
All right, what's everybody else doing? Anduriel's kind of walking around in his interest. How will the rest of you occupy your time on the ship?
Thora is initially just kind of listen. And if he hears anyone struggling with a task, he will jump in to help. And initially, theoretically, they're going to be like, what's a skinny little druid going to do anything about it? And then he's going to grab whatever they're doing with his robot arm and like pull them and the rope with them.
Okay. With your incredible 22 strength in that arm.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thora, you go moving around, and two of them are they're kind of just coiling the rope over in the corner. And as they coil the rope, it's pretty heavy, but they don't look like they need any any particular help with that per se. But at one point, one of them goes over and checks, make sure that the anchor has been pulled all the way up, and starts grumbling because it's stuck or something like that. And you come over and he looks at you and he goes, "Hey, what the hell do you want?" And then you reach over and grab it and you're like, "Grrr!" You just pull the thing up, and he looks at you and he's like, "Lisa, boy."
He follows that up with, "Oh, it looked like you needed assistance. I apologize. Was that not necessary?"
You have a
Just,
metal arm?
completely over his head. "Oh, yes, it was a thing that happened."
Okay. It was
His delivery is so dry, by the way. I'm smiling. He's like, "Oh, yes, it happened."
Okay. So he looks at you and he kind of like looks you over and he's like, "Was a thing that happened."
"Oh, yes, a demon melded it with my soul."
A demon?
Well, it might have been a devil. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes.
A devil, a fiend, welded it to your soul.
Yes.
What is your name?
Thora.
Very interesting. So there
It was agonizing. Like,
okay. He goes, "I imagine it was. What did they do with the parts they took off?"
"Oh, no, you misunderstand. They didn't take it off. They hammered it until my arm and leg were paste.
Oh, well, but I will. That was a sight to behold. And he looks like a little too eager. Like he looks like the kind of guy who watches the Saw films, or or he likes not just horror movies but slasher flicks. And so you know what I'm talking. So he enjoys to look at the violence, and he's like, so was there a lot of blood? Did your arm make a squish noise or a crack bone noise?
More of a combination of searing meat and meat tenderization, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Delicious. I mean, I'm assuming demons eat people, right?
Maybe. I don't think I ever saw one. Like, just matter of fact, not even like...
He says, come to think of it, I have never seen a demon or a devil myself. I wonder, can you cook them? Well, it doesn't matter. Mrs. Spindlecut could cook them. She can cook anything and make it taste good.
Do we remember that the devils in the hells like melted into goo?
The devils that melted into goo, it was more demons that were melting into goo that left a residue behind. You do remember that when you were at Avernus. So he looks at you, and then he really all of a sudden just kind of clams up. Doesn't say anything, and sits down and starts mending the rope.
He goes, "Oh, I apologize. Did I say something upsetting?"
He just shakes his head, but doesn't say one more word to you. Goes back to mending the rope, coiling it, checking it for fraying at any edge. But he is definitely, like, you get the message loud and clear. And Thora is not what you would call a social bird, but you get the message loud and clear, like, this conversation is over.
Okay.
And you're like, even you walk away, you're like, dude, social skills, bro. Like,
Thora gives kind of like a cock to the head. He sticks around just to see what he's doing in case he needs to know how to do it later.
okay.
And there might even be a moment, like, should it be allowed, that like he partially wild shapes. So like his mechanical arm turns into little clockwork spiders, and he helps repair like a tear in the rope with that, or somehow, or something like that.
Okay, that gets wide-eyed looks from both of the sailors that are mending the rope. They look at you and they're like, and then they look at each other and they're like, uh-oh. They don't say anything. And then one of them gets up and walks over to the captain. Now we'll switch to someone else while that's going on. And how else are the rest of you spending your time on the ship? And Durio, you're going to go below deck?
I apologize for taking up so much time.
Not at all. Is that what you say to him?
No, that's just me.
No, I just want to know what else is going on because it will affect things.
Yeah, Andurio went down the steps. He's just kind of exploring the ship.
Okay, so we'll head to that in a second. Morokhan, what are you doing? You flexing in the corner? You're like,
is there a crow's nest on
there
this
is a
ship by
crow's
chance?
nest.
How high up is it?
It's 6 squares up on the map.
Okay. So is there someone in it right now?
There is not. It's a
Okay.
pretty small crew. You and Odelia both noticed. It's definitely Tarsirian. You can tell by their accent, Morokhan. It's flavors of home.
Okay, is it kind of too small of a crew to be manning
Oh,
a
no.
ship this
No,
size?
there are
or is
just
it-
enough of them. This is not a
Okay.
huge. It's a small schooner. This isn't a galleon by any stretch of the imagination. There are plenty of them, but there's just enough of them to sail the boat.
Okay. Morokhan, unless he's being beckoned somewhere or someone's trying to get his attention, he's going to try to stay in the sun as long as possible.
Okay.
So he's going to. I'm going to use. So I have an ability that that gives me a move action. So I'm going to use my divine sun to teleport up into the crow's nest.
Okay. Alrighty, that catches a number of eyes too, of people. Particularly the sailor that is minding the sails and his partner. They watch you like vanish in a burst of sunlight, and they're like, and they both look at each other like, and they start kind of just whispering to each other, barely, not that you could hear from up there. But they have concerned looks on their face, and you're not sure why they're concerned. Like, it might be a witch, like like throw him in the water. You're not quite sure. What?
So yeah,
what is
so it looks like a teleporter, like from Star Trek. So so I just teleport up to the crow's nest, and I start looking around, just being a lookout, but mostly just sucking in as much sun as I can.
Okay.
Just being pensive and observant of most everything else, a little less of what's happening on the deck of the ship, but more so what's happening around.
Make a perception check, please. From your crow's nest vantage point.
My amazing perception, which is not that amazing. 15.
Okay. You see water everywhere.
That's a good thing.
And the more the ship gets underway, the more water you see.
Fantastic.
However, I will tell you that the ladies
I'll holler
Errand,
down to Thora, hey, we're not flying.
We are hugging the coast, I will tell you. The ladies Errand is just kind of hugging the coastline. And that makes sense because we have to come up around the peninsula and go around past Aquanosha, where Odelia's temple is from. We're going to sail right past it and whatnot. It's going to be quite a while to get around the peninsula to get to where the island of Desmair is. And you're not quite sure where it is, Moroccan, except you know it's quite a ways off the coast. Who knows how far? It seems farther all the time. But Odelia, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know it's a ways out there.
Well, Odelia had every intention of going and exploring the ship with Anduriel until she saw the little kid. And now she is 100% in for going and meeting this little kid and seeing what their situation is on this boat. Also, she wants to befriend the cook. And so she feels like, oh, this kid is working in the scullery. Then go make friends with this kid and hopefully make friends with the cook as well.
Okay. So, Odelia, you and Anduriel both kind of make a beeline for the spiral staircase leading down below. And the young sailor, the one with the big grin on his face, looks probably the youngest one here. He stands there with his arms crossed, and as you both kind of like make your way over there, Anduriel, you're probably like slowly slinking towards it, and Odelia is like, woo! Like running out. I mean, and she scuttles across that ship like nobody's business. He kind of steps in front of you, Odelia, before you can hit the spiral character, and he goes, well there, little one. What can I do for you? You want to see below?
Well, I just wanted to go see if I could help Mrs. What's her name again? The name of
Mrs. Spindlecut.
Oh, Mrs. Spindlecut. She make the most delicious stew. I've never had such good stew on board ship before. I've spent a lot of time sailing actually with in my line of work, and I tell you what, usually the onboard food is not that good, but this was delicious. I just wanted to go and give my compliments to the chef and see if I could help her with cleanup and see how I can make myself useful.
I think Mrs. Spindlecut would enjoy that. I can take you below and bring you to her, but she will not want any help. That is what we pay Handsome Barrett for.
Who's Handsome Barrett?
Handsome Barrett is the cabin boy.
Oh, I'd love to meet him too. He looked like such a sweet thing.
Oh, he is a little awful. It would not. He's not worth your time.
Oh, that's just my kind of kid, honestly.
I don't think so. I am not sure the captain would want you to talk to that little wastrel. We may even throw him overboard at some point. He's so useless.
I mean, I'm sure it won't come to that now, will it?
I don't know. It's up to the captain. I wouldn't dare cross him. I wouldn't cross him if I were you either. He is a most violent man when he doesn't get what he wants.
In her mind, she's thinking his violence is no match for her rage if he crosses a kid.
Yeah.
But she just continues to smile with the kind of cheerfully vacant expression that is her mask.
Alrighty. So he says, I will take you to Mrs. Spindlecut. We go.
Oh, bless you.
And he looks at you and Duriel because you were slinking over. You come with us.
Okay, I happen to be going that way anyways. That sounds great.
Ah, then you will come with us.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, and Duriel's great helping clean up in the kitchen. I'm sure that's exactly his favorite thing to do.
You may be overselling that, little one.
Just a wee bit. Okay, so you guys head down the spiral staircase into the hold. And before, without showing you the whole map, I will describe to you the layout of what you're looking at. There is on the spiral staircase, a netting that has a bunch of barrels directly to the right of you. And then to the left of you, as you come down there, it's a bunch of cargo boxes. Just cargo packed in next to each other in the center. And there's space around the center for you to walk on. So you can walk in a circle around all of the cargo. And there's a cargo net in the upper right-hand corner. Some barrels to the left, some barrels all the way to the bottom. And then there are 3 portholes. There's one to the right, and there's 2 to the left. So one on the wall or the side of the ship that has the staircase. And then across from the staircase on the other side of the ship are 2 portholes at different angles. So you can go all around, and he leads you down to the right and walking past the big, boxes and cargo crates and everything. And he says, you understand, I'm not sure Mrs. Spindlecut will want to be bothered for long. She does have much to do in preparation. You've seen how people eat around here.
Exactly why I want to offer her my services.
Oh, I don't think she'll want them, but that is kind of you to be helpful. And Anduriel, he looks back and stops to make sure you're walking with him.
Anduriel's walking along.
Okay.
Shoots him a nice smile.
On the wall, which would be up in the northern part of the ship, there is a door. And you catch sight of another door on the bottom left part of the ship. And then there's the door to the galley, which is where Mrs. Spindlecut is. And so the door is open, and she's in there, and you hear scrubbing going on in the corner, the sound of a scrub brush hitting a metal pot, and pretty vigorously too. And you see Mrs. Spindlecut is in the center. There's a table in the center of her galley, like a rickety wooden table, and she has literally like 3 enormous squid on the center of the table, and she is she's chopping and rubbing salt into the different, and she's curing it, rolling it over, hammering it with a mallet again, rubbing more salt in, preserving the squid meat. And the sailor who's with you, whose name you still don't know, he looks up and he says, Mrs. Spindlecut, she hates cooking with dead meat. You understand? She prefers the livestock to be live, so we catch things fresh as we go. She's good at it too. She is the best fisherman on board. And Mrs. Spindlecut looks up, she looks down at you, and she says, well, can I help you? I hope you didn't come down here with a complaint. I fed you all good and well. You can still be hungry, although I may have a morsel of you laying around here if you've got a snack.
Oh, no, I actually just came down to see if I could help and tell you thank you. That was the best meal I've ever had on board ship.
Oh, that's because you haven't had my meat pie yet.
I hope we're going to. Will we get to?
Of course you will, lassie. I'll feed you. I'll feed you till you cannot walk no more.
That sounds delightful.
And she says, and you've never had my braised ribs before. We were able to catch anything on the way, and you'll get a taste of those too. Cordelia, make a knowledge nature check. And you may roll twice for this as well.
25.
Where the freak is she gonna catch something to make ribs out of in the middle of the ocean?
That was my next question.
And that leads you to believe, like, you're like, how are you gonna make ribs if we catch something?
She just stores that information away.
Mm-hmm.
But she says, so Mrs. Spindlecut, just have to ask, I've been on a lot of ships, and I'm sure you know this. The cooking is just never really that good. How did you end up on this ship? How did they get you?
Well, I'll tell you how, dearie. I married the captain. That's how I ended up on the ship.
Oh.
There's no surefire way to get on a ship as a woman if you cannot cook unless you marry the captain. And let me tell you, I jumped at that chance. Got out of that wretched little cove I was living in. Oh, my life's much happier now.
You like living on board ship?
Oh, I love it, dear. I've got mouths to feed constantly, all kinds of ingredients to make all kinds of things. And we see all kinds of lovely people. And she looks over at the kid. He's in the corner scrubbing out the pot that we ate out of. And his body's like halfway in the pot. You just see two little thin legs sticking out, and they're a little bit too thin. You're like, how does a kid on this ship not look like everybody, like, you know, not gain some
like
girth?
Roly-poly.
Yeah, I mean, how is he not like, anyway, but he's scrubbing away, and she just casually looks over at him and she says, you scrub and you get it all done, boy. We're not gonna have like last time when the bits and pieces were all lying about. Grab it now. And she looks over at you and she says, hey, he's a good lad, but he's a bit daft.
Is he yours?
Oh, no. I've never had a bear, and I've never had the desire to.
What about the captain? Does he have a desire to?
Oh, he's married to this. He's married to the sea, my dear. I'm his second wife, truth be told. It's the ocean he loves first, and the ride, and the mission, of course.
Oh, the mission? What's the mission?
Oh, we ferrying people back and forth, transporting all kinds of things.
Sure.
And Ariel, any word from you as you are here? Are you just listening?
He's actually been trying to sneak away the whole time.
Okay. And Ariel, make a stealth check. You're going to have a hard time here because the young sailor with the big grin on his face is kind of just watching you.
That's only a 17.
Okay. So you just kind of move back, and he moves with you. Like every step you take, he walks with you, and he looks at you, and he smiles wider, like he knows you're trying to sneak away, and he's like having fun with you. You take a step, and he takes a step, but he goes like on purpose, so you can see that he's walking with you. And he looks at you and he says, are you going somewhere? Shall we take a walk around the deck together?
Yeah, let's go take a look at the other rooms in the the ladies' pleasure.
He's like, the captain would not like that. He does not like the passenger snooping below. There is nothing to see but storage and the barracks of the other sailors. There's nothing interesting there but men's filth, eh?
Yes, judging by the crew, there is nothing interesting on this ship. So I guess I shall go up and just wander about on top. You may come with me if you like. How about you do that?
I will join you. It will be so pleasant.
Please.
And
Odelia, come see me if you need anything. I'm going to be enjoying my afternoon with my jailer. I mean, my companion here.
he looks at you when you say that and he goes, that is good one, jailer. And he actually takes your arm.
I extricate my arm because no touchy.
Oh,
Do we need to roll an insight check to see if this is an assignment or if he just has a crush on Enduriel?
you can make an insight check to try to read this dude.
I will do it.
You don't have to.
Oh no, I will. That is a 24.
He's a little bit too interested in Enduriel, and you're not quite sure what it means. You're not really necessarily picking up like that he likes Enduriel, but he finds him to be particularly interesting somehow. So who knows?
He's totally vibing.
Well, I'm going to stay here and see if I can help Mrs.
Spindlecut.
Spindlecut. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with that name. Mrs. Spindlecut and the boy here. What's the boy's name?
They refer to him as Handsome Barrett.
Oh, Handsome Barrett. I love that name. And so she, Odelia is just going to stay and see if she can help out and ingratiate herself with Mrs. Spindlecut.
All right. Well, she'll put you to work. I mean, if you're going to stay in there. Odelia, in the course of working in there are so many pungent smells because she has a spice rack that would be like the envy of an inn's kitchen. And in there, she has a lovely iron stove in the corner. And she has her own porthole, obviously, because she would need that for cooking. And so she's got a little bit. She has a chimney kind of that leads out the side of and a good big porthole. And there's that wooden table and a lovely cabinet in the corner and a spice rack in the other corner. The galley's pretty big. It's 16 squares of the ship, and your cabin is only like 2. So there's room. But she has this incredible spice rack. Also, she's got meat hanging on hooks. And most of it's normal, lamb and maybe beef. But you also catch some weird meats, like she's got dog, and you're like, like people in Aquanosha, where you're from, there's a lot of impoverished people, and they'll eat just about anything. They'll eat rats, they'll eat dogs. So it's not unfamiliar, but serving it to passengers with a paid passage would probably be like, So you do catch some mystery meat here and there, but then in the course of she gives you something to chop, tells you she wants you to grate some garlic and whatever. And in the course of this, you bump next to her, and oh my gosh, she smells so bad that you're like, dude, somebody needs to hand her Palmolive, because she stay, and it's only a brief whiff. Like, just as you bump next to her, you're like, oh, like, it's so bad.
Knock something loose.
Like, it's that bad. She smells like rotting meat and like feces and poop, and like, you're like, she's a sweet woman, and her hands are clean, by the way. Her hands are clean. She doesn't look, and she's being sanitary in the kitchen, but you're like, she does not bathe, and there are things on her, like, like
bits of corn, like
save some for later, kind of
Saving
snark.
it for later.
Yeah.
So, in any case, the first day, I mean, she shoos you away at one point when she's ready for bed, and she escorts you to the staircase, by the way. And she
But-
at one point during the night, she looks to the kid and she says, you get you to bed before I take a ladle to you.
I say, good night, handsome Barrett. We'll
Okay.
chat later.
He looks up at you kind of like nervous or guilty, like he's afraid he's going to get in trouble. And then he just kind of like goes into the corner of the galley and like curls up on a rug or something. And then she escorts you over to the stairwell and she says, oh, he's a nice lad, and I'm happy to have charge of him, but he's a wee bit dense, you understand. Has a hard time adding 2 and 2 and getting more than 1. But he's fine. I mean, he's of use. Of course, the captain's constantly threatening to eat him or throw him over the side. He's a little mouthful, but we like him. And then she points to the staircase and she says, oh, off with you, lassie. Get yourself a good night's sleep. Plenty to do in the morning.
All right. It was so nice to meet you, and good night.
Oh, good night, lassie. Have a good rest. Peaceful dreams and all that, with the sheepies and the little angels in the hills and all that. And then she goes back to downstairs to the kitchen after you go up. Or whatnot. Anything else anybody wants to do before bed or before daytime for Anduriel?
Nope.
All right. So the first night passes pretty calmly, pretty peacefully. There's nothing really disturbing or anything like that happens on the ship. And the next morning, there's a bell that rings everybody kind of awake. And Duriel, you might have already been awake. Who knows what your sleeping habits are right now. You do require rest in order to have all of your powers and abilities. But in any case, the bell wakes you up, but you don't need the bell to wake you up because the smell of bacon wafts in through the rafters and kind of just fills the passengers' cabins or whatnot. And you all wake up to the smell of bacon. And then as you come out, Mrs. Spindlecut comes up there lugging this enormous tray full of bowls of porridge and bacon. And it's fresh and it's thick slabs too. And she hasn't, and same deal, everybody just, Garfields it down and whatnot. And then you're all kind of just wandering around reading. At one point, one of the crew comes up and tells you that they have some books the captain's happy to put at your disposal if you'd like to read. Things calm down and some of the crew start playing bones, like rolling, knucklebone, game where you kind of, tossing dice, but they toss bones, and if they fall in certain combinations, but they pretty much ignore you. Nobody speaks to you, nobody reaches out. And Morocon, at one point, you're kind of over on the side of the ship, and then you have what might be disturbed as kind of a creepy experience. Something moving in the water catches your eye. Can you make a perception check for me?
Why do you keep asking me to do checks of things that I'm really bad at?
I'd help if I could.
13.
Okay, so Morocon, you're looking over the side of the boat, and you can see, as you look over the side of the boat, there is a figure in the water, and it seems to be some kind of woman, a young girl. You're having a hard time making out whether she's human or she's elven, but you look at her and she looks sickly, or like she's not necessarily emaciated, but she just looks unwell. And then you get a look, she reaches up towards you with her arms and she's mouthing things to you. And you're trying to, you can't really make out with your perception check what she's saying, But then you look over and become aware that she's not the only figure in the water that's reaching towards you. Now I would like you to make an insight check, please.
Well, insight, I'm better at that. Ooh, that one's really good.
Yay.
That's a 24.
Okay. There are multiple women looking like they're like reaching up under the water, and they're mouthing things and you can't tell what they're mouthing, but they look like they're in terrible pain, and they look like they're asking for help or something, and they're weeping, and you even hear a few of their voices. They're just like,
Oh, Delia, will you come here, please?
What can I help you with? Oh no. Oh, that is not right.
Odelia, make a are you trained in religion, Odelia?
No, that was a rough subject for me at the old seminary.
Okay, you may both make a religion check. Odelia, you may roll twice.
Then it would be the 5 plus which?
And wisdom.
Okay. So that would be 18. No,
18.
19.
Okay.
26.
26. Okay.
I'm trained in religion.
Moroccan, you were at one point looking at them, and they bear the unmistakable aura of the undead. And you're sure that this is not an image, that these are actually creatures here or spirits here. Odelia, with your 19, you know that there are plenty of dead who are lost at sea and never seen again. But you know from your experience, Odelia, that for these ghosts, which is exactly what you know them to be, Moroccan, they're not specters, they're not wights, they're not revenants, they're actually ghosts. And for them to be lingering here means that there's something about the ship that is involved in their pain. And they're leaning over the side. And Odelia, now that you are looking at them, you may make a perception check.
That is a 17.
Okay. Odelia, you are almost positive that they are mouthing the word help us. But they're mouthing something else to you. But you can't make out what they're saying. But they're weeping, they're in pain, they're terrified, and they're suffering, and they're mouthing help us. And then all of a sudden, the captain grabs both of you by the shoulder and he goes, "Hey," and startles you, like, because you're like, "Ah!" Like, he kind of appears out of nowhere, and he claps you. He's like, "Don't lean over the side of the ship so much. It's a quick way to a watery grave. What were you looking at?"
Very sad spirits. It seems as though they were trying to get our attention.
Very sad spirits. Like dwarven ale? What kind of spirits would sad? An empty bottle of wine. Ah!
No,
Indeed.
like ghosts in the water.
Ghosts in the water. You were seeing ghosts in the water.
I know you know what that is. If you've been on the sea for more than a day, you know what can make that happen.
I have seen many ghosts in my time on the water. I've seen them on ships. I have even spotted a ghost ship before. But
So
ghosts on the
that's
water.
what we saw.
And he says, hugging the coast. There is nothing tragic about the coastline that we are on. Surely you, who are a priestess of the water goddess, know that there is no such famous tragedy here.
Were
And yet here we are.
were the ghosts like keeping up with the ship, or was the ship not moving?
No, the ship is moving,
So
and
the
they're
ghosts were connected to
keeping
the
up.
ship.
Yeah,
Are they still there?
they're gone. You look over the side and you don't see them anymore. And the captain says, look, I have seen more than a number of strange things at my time at sea. But I also know that there is any number of superstitions that sailors are wont to give in to. I advise you not to give in to the same superstitions. I'm sure you just saw a few fish and it startled you. But it is nothing. Don't worry about it. And then he walks away from you. And Thora,
I don't think I like that captain.
while the captain's walking away and they're having this kind of moment on the side of the ship, Thora, one of the sailors walks over to you and he goes, so, my understanding was that there was a girl child that was supposed to come with you. Some teenage child. What happened to her?
Well, she got tied up doing what she does best, running off and doing something insane.
Oh, that is sad. She is awfully young, too. Was this trip meant to be her trip to her betrothal? We were escorting her to her wedding, no?
Unless I have been misinformed, she'd kill a man before she got married to him.
Ah, I see. She is too young, or she is not liking the men, or she likes the women, or what?
I don't think there's a man or a woman. I think she's spirited and decided to do something more interesting than get on a ship, in her opinion.
That is interesting. And what about the rest of you? Are you all married? For instance, you are married to the halfling, no?
The snort broke me.
Totally.
I was like so in it, and then I heard the snort and I lost it.
Morokon hangs his head and starts to back away from the conversation.
Well, Moralcon's not part of this. This is happening on the other side of the ship.
Oh, okay.
But
Thora
Anduriel,
goes,
you're within sight of this.
Thora disapparates into bugs. No,
Ugh, awkward. Yeah.
no, he goes, oh, no. Everyone in our group are partners in a group of people who try to help people in need. An outreach mission, if you will.
You are all partners.
I've
Is
lost his voice.
kind of a group marriage then. You are all married?
No, there's no marriage involved.
Oh, you are
Is-
celibates, all of you.
I mean, I am. I don't know about the rest of them.
Ah. And he walks away from you. Just walks away and ends the conversation. And like he has no further interest in talking to you at all.
Is it the celibacy?
I don't know, like,
Is something I said?
was it something like, it's odd too, because it's the second time people were like, I'm done with you, and ended the conversation. Like, dude, everybody needs to go to charm school.
I think
Eunuch.
I think Thora will walk up to Anduriel. My brain died. He will walk up to Anduriel and be like, this is going to seem like an odd question. Is there something wrong with me?
Are you sure you want to open that can of worms today?
To him.
I do.
Like, is there something wrong with me? All right, think about it, JT. Soak it up before you pick your answer.
Twice
No,
already,
no.
Anduriel, have people just ceased having conversations with me and walked away.
Thora, there are many things wrong with you, but I will agree with you, something is wrong with this ship. A, it's quite boring. There's nothing going on here. I can't go anywhere. All it is eating, and then walking back to somewhere, and then eating again. And I don't know. And then the captain, he did the same thing to me. I was speaking to him, he abruptly turned and left. Something is going on this ship.
Okay, so it isn't just me.
Well, let's say it's both.
I mean, I do understand that I lack social graces.
That's why I like you. You know exactly what's going on with yourself, and some curiosity about what's going on around you, like you're some android or something. Teach me how to be human. Anyways.
He like lifts up his robotic hand.
He's halfway there.
Anyways, perhaps we should find the halfling and the dragon. See what their thoughts are on this, because it's very strange.
That sounds like a perfect idea.
Fellowship, huddle.
Fellowship, ho! Teeny tiny He-Man sword.
All right,
Shadow.
you guys walk over to Morocon and Odelia. They're standing on the left side of the ship, over, where you were looking at the creepy ghosties, and you're all huddled. And everybody seems to be ignoring you. You're more than able to have a private conversation.
Dragon, dwarf. Have you noticed something?
I'm not a dwarf.
Sorry, dragon, small one.
That's racist.
No, if anything, it's, I don't know, race
It's
has anything to do-
ignorant and inconsiderate.
Anyways, have you noticed anything wrong with this crew? Bugs over here was saying that they keep walking away from him mid-sentence, and something very weird is going on this ship.
Can't speak for the crew, but I don't think I like that captain much. But at
His
least
wife
the food
is
is
lovely.
delicious.
She makes good food, I suppose. The captain's weird, the crew is weird, and I travel with some interesting folks, and all of these people are weird.
But I mean, sometimes that's just how ships are. A lot of times, vessels like this you don't become a sailor because you're really interested in society. Like ships are usually filled with a bunch of misfits. But I'm more worried about the ghost that Maracon and I just saw off the port side here. That was definitely a problem.
Oh man, you saw ghosts?
Yeah.
I've been over there being tailed by old Grinny McPhee over there, having the boringest time of my life, and you guys saw ghosts? What did they look like?
Next time we'll let you know.
What did they look like?
Quite morose. They were really sad. And
Like a bunch of sad drowned women.
they were asking for help.
Oh.
Not sure what we could have done to help. They
I
were
think that
already
ship
dead.
has sailed.
Yeah,
What a ship.
but
We need to get down to the bottom of this. Something is going on, and I don't like it.
Maybe we need to get down to the bottom of the ship, since they won't let us down there.
Dragon, Perhaps you could provide some sort of a diversion.
Oh, I can certainly do that. You mean like right now?
Yes, perhaps going up and smacking Grinny McPhee on the face. And then I could sort of slip by and, and see what's going on.
I mean, we do have a long voyage still ahead. We don't want to get thrown off the ship.
All right.
We
Go
might
and
need to be a wee bit more crafty.
I could be rather inconspicuous.
You could be bugs.
oh yes, Bugs, go below decks, Bugs. Tell us what's going on.
Would you like me to shift right now in open view of everyone?
It would be far too much excitement for this boat to handle. That's true.
It would be quite
Like me
concerning
to
for
make a
most of them.
distraction.
Yes, Dragon, make a distraction.
Or I could simply try and go back to the cabin.
I kind of
Reasonable.
Okay, if you'll excuse me. And he just like wanders over toward in the direction so he can go down to his cabin.
see. At least he said "excuse me" before he walked away. That is the difference.
That is manners.
That's why he's not a psychopath.
All right, so
Well,
Thora,
we'll say he's both.
is Thora's plan then to go back to the cabin and then bug his way out, like stealth-wise?
Well, because Wild Shape allows me to turn into any medium animal, I wanted to ask, can I turn into any small animal?
You need a feat to be able to turn into a small animal, but you are a swarm druid, so you are many small animals. You just take up a medium size amount of them.
Okay. So, like, theoretically, so long as I stick to, like, the ceilings and am, like, in the darkness, I might be able to move around.
You'll get a bonus to your stealth check because you become a swarm. People don't tend to look up or down all the time at where you might be moving. So you will get a +5 bonus to your stealth check as you attempt to move to parts of the ship without being noticed.
Okay, I think that's doable then.
I think so
yeah,
too.
I think that is his plan.
Alrighty, so here's what I'm going to do then. I believe we have reached the point now where it would probably be useful for me to show you the ship as you have seen it thus far. So I am going to share screen. Going to go to the basic. And we'll go to here. And I will also keep sharing sound, and hopefully this will work. And bada bing.
know what Justin
Bobbity
Bell did
make
too.
the map appear. There.
Woo!
I
Can
thought
you
we were
all
doing
see it?
Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
How snazzy.
I know. Look at us. Look at all the high-tech things I've learned how to do. Love your DM. That's what I'm saying.
There's a boat.
There's a weird.
Ship.
So this is what you have seen of the ship so far, my friends. You have seen, all of these pieces. You got the cabins, the captain's quarters, and there's spiral staircase. There's the door to your cabins right here. The door to the captain's. So Thora, you're gonna go in the cabins, and you're gonna bug your way over here. Or did you want to go on the side and like try to go through a porthole, or what's your plan?
Oh, with the setup that I'm currently seeing, it might be better to see if I can like go along the side somehow.
Okay.
That way I'm not going right on top deck.
All right. Can you guys see both of the maps that we're looking at?
I can only see the one.
The boat.
Yeah, I see. The
Yeah, all I see is the ship.
All right. Give me one moment here, because I can make this happen.
I believe in you, Matthew.
Alrighty. Oh, there we go. All right. Share sound. And bada bing, bada boom. All right, there. Can you see it now?
Loading.
There we go.
Yes.
Ah, there we go.
There we are. Okay.
Lovely.
Indubitably, sir.
All right. There we go, my
I don't
friends.
know what that was.
Now, Thora, you have 4 portholes. You're going to give a wee shock to Mrs. Spindlecut if you go into the galley down here. But you can if you want to. It's your call. or you can
Be
come
careful,
down
she's got a mallet.
and a cleaver.
They're probably trying to cook you.
That's true.
You are
Oh, a bunch
approaching.
of bugs.
At this point, you are
Little ribs.
approaching. All right. So Thora, tell me which porthole you wish to go into. It's the yellow circle.
I would like to go into the lower left one, please.
All right. So Thora, you wander over to the side of the boat.
Okay.
And you turn into bugs on the side of the boat, or you bugged over here?
I'm trying to think of the best way to be inconspicuous about this because I don't want to just like bug out while like there are people around.
You're like, hey everybody, bugs! Like,
it's me, Mr. Bugs. No.
Okay.
Hey, don't be ashamed. You be you.
So let me know when this starts to happen, and I will try to make a distraction for you.
Okay, if Morocon makes a distraction, I'll let you roll twice on your stealth check.
In that case, Thora will like wander in that direction, but it's more of just like a looking around, trying to keep himself busy kind of walk until Morocon does a thing.
Okay. Morocon, what are you going to do, and where are you going to be on the ship?
So I would like to get the attention of the guy that's standing guard at the spiral staircase.
Okay.
I'm going to pull him aside and just say, could I, it is a small thing, but I see you are standing by the staircase, but maybe you could give me a hand with a particular...
The guy standing by the staircase is no longer the big grinning guy. It's Samuels. You caught his name at one point. He's about 30 years old. He's probably the most pleasant guy on the ship, and he's the one who started the song. In fact, he starts most of the songs. So he's the one standing by the stairwell, and he looks over at you, and he's like, "What did you want now?"
So, what day of the week is it right now?
Probably Tuesday.
Okay, so of course it's a Tuesday. So I'll look at him and say, so for the one Tuesday every month, I need to do a particular ritual to the sun goddess. So if you could give me a hand for a moment, it is just a small thing. But if you could raise your hands and your face to the sun while I perform this ritual, it will be only just a moment, and it will help immensely.
Okay, he looks at you just disgusted. He says, "And what makes you think that I don't have a god of my own that I worship? No interest in worshiping your sun goddess with you? Away with you."
Oh,
The captain
this
would
has
not
nothing
like
to-
it.
this has nothing to do with your worshiping, but it does have everything to do with my worship. So if you could help with that, you will not draw the ire of your deity.
You don't even know what god I worship. Leave me alone.
It does-
Go about your business.
It does not matter what god you worship, and I'll start to I'll puff out my chest a bit and just try to make myself a little bigger.
Okay.
It will be but a small thing.
He snarls at you. Like, literally snarls. It's like, ah, and looks at you and he goes, "Get away. Captain! Captain! Think we have a problem here." And the captain looks down and he frowns and growls. And the captain points to the old grizzled sailor that had the manifest and points to the helm. And he lodges a little bar in the helm and he starts tromping his way down the stairs, walks past Thora. Need to know where Odelia and Anduriel are on the ship at this point.
Anduriel is probably 1, 2, 3 squares down from Morocon. Right, yeah, right there.
Okay.
Kind
Odelia?
of taking the action in.
Odelia thinks this is a terrible idea. she is going to come and stand like on like right up from 6, like 2 up from there and 2 over.
2 up from where? 6?
2 up from 6 and then
And
2
2
over.
over.
She's where she can keep what's happening in her eyesight, but where like they're not affiliated with me kind of situation.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, so Delia's like, I don't know him. Like, okay. All right. So the captain comes tromping down over past Anduriel, and Anduriel, he just kind of glares at you as he walks past. Nothing, not that it means anything in particular. He just kind of gives you a dirty look as he walks past you, and comes tromping over, and he says, "What is the problem? Why are you bothering me? What is going on here?" And he looks up at his crewman, Samuels, the singer, and he goes, "Who start this?" And Samuels takes a step back, and he says, "He is trying to force me to pray to his goddess, Captain." And Samuels looks at the ground like he's scared to meet the like he's cowed, almost like he can't look up. And the captain looks over at you and he says, "Oi, I have less than no use for you. If you want to make it to your destination, quit forcing your blasphemous beliefs upon my crew members. Do you understand me, Dragon?"
I do not wish him to assist in worship. I do not wish for him to assist by worshiping my goddess. It is the sun drop ritual. I need him only to hold his hands up to help catch me if I were to fall.
We are not assisting in any of your blasphemous religious ceremonies. I tell you one more time, and then I lock you in the hold. Off with you.
Very well. If your deck were to catch fire, it would be on your head. And I will walk up and I will climb up to the crow's nest.
Okay.
While this was happening, could Thora try and get over the edge of the boat?
You absolutely can.
I know. And Duro was like, "Great job, Dragon. Yes."
Okay, Morocon, you've managed to piss off the whole ship. And so there you are, Morocon.
I'm used to it.
Thanks for noticing me.
I better turn this light back on.
Oh, we lost him. There we go. All right. Morocon, I'll move you right there. You're on the crow's nest. Okay.
Okay. So I
Sora?
I climb up to the crow's nest, and I start mumbling just gibberish and draconic, just so that no one really understands what I'm saying. I'll point my face up to the sky and I'll blow out some fire. Like, I make a big spectacle of it. I will channel divinity and make everything just poof.
Okay.
No!
Morocon is making the most ridiculous spectacle of himself, and Duriel, the captain, comes over to you and he looks at you and he says, "Are you the one in charge of this expedition? Is that beast your pet?"
Oh, don't be such a drama queen, Captain. We haven't harmed you or your crew. We have no intention of doing so. Calm down.
If he causes fire upon my ship and he sets fire to sails, I will throw you all overboard.
Understood. I wouldn't blame you, sir.
Get that fool down from the crow's nest.
All right, once he's finished with his worship, it's very important. I can understand every word he's saying. Once he's finished, I shall have him come down immediately.
Okay, Thora, roll twice, please.
Okay. This is kind of remarkable for Thora. That was I'm not trained, so it's a 19 plus my dex plus half my level.
That's right.
So that's a 26 plus the 5 you gave me also, because you also gave me 5.
+5 bonus
good
in your
job,
in your
Thor.
swarm form.
So that is 31.
Nice.
Well
Okay,
done.
Thora.
One
no
of these
one,
dice is very nice. The other one is very mad at me.
no one has a clue that you have either. They're all staring at the Morocon like spectacle of joyful sunlight, and they're all like snarling and glaring, and everybody is like growling, and not one person spots you bug yourself and come down the side in through the porthole. You are now below decks.
Woo!
Okay. And Duriel is going to kind of have a sense that this has probably gone on long enough and signal Morocon. Dragon, I think worship services are done for the day.
Very well. And I will deactivate my channel divinity, and I will look down. I will face. What direction is is it east? Is it north? What is the direction that
The direction that everybody
where
is
Samuel's
facing
is?
this way is north. Samuel's is the one who's over here, by the stairwell. He is facing east. Well, no, he's
Okay.
facing you right now, but he is on the eastern side of the ship.
Okay, so I will, and then I will say, very well, face the sunrise, and I'll hold my hands out and I'll do a dive toward him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez.
So, but before I hit the ground, I will do the Divine Sun ability again, and then teleport myself right next to him, so as to not like incur any damage or anything.
Okay. Where do you? Right over here, right next to him.
Just right next to him.
All right. So this cannonball, like you leap off, and he looks at you and he's like, ah, like at you, and then poof, you're gone. And the captain is kind of back up at the helm, or he's walking back to the helm. Captain stops right over here by the other mast, looks at Andurio, and he says, shakes his head, and he says, if there are any more nonsense moments like this on the ship, I will pick one of you at random and throw you overboard. You have been warned. And he turns around on his heel and walks back up to the helm. Odelia.
It is a once-a-month ritual. Do not be concerned.
Odelia, you catch sight because he is up over here on the bow of the ship, tending to something over on the side, securing a barrel of the first mate, Gregor, who has the manifest. And you hear him mutter under his breath, I hate priests. Stupid clerics. And then one of the priests walks, or not one of the priests, sorry. One of the other sailors, the one with the big, goofy grin on his face, Odelia, walks up next to him and he goes, so, you married?
Oh, I'm married to my work, dear, but thank you for the compliment.
Oh, that is good. Have you ever been married? Not. Have you always been married to your work?
You know, I mean, we've all got a past, dearie. But I'm going to keep mine to myself, thank you.
Oh, that is probably a good idea. But it's safe to assume then that you've gotten around.
Are you being cheeky with me?
He's like, I mean no offense. You know, we sailors, we are a ill-bred lot. We lack the social graces. I hope I have not offended you.
She gives him a playful punch in the stomach. And is like, I've got my eye on you now, young man.
Okay, and he says, my apologies, miss, or almost misses. I mean no offense. And he walks away, and you're like, oh my gosh, does anybody on the ship have any social grace whatsoever? And boy, they seem awfully interested in everybody's love life, which go figure. But Thora, you are now underground, or you are in the hold, shall we say, the cargo hold portion of the ship. You see there's a door here and a door here, and there is the door to the galley here and the cargo here.
Okay. I think he would like to check out the door to the south first.
Over here, all right.
Yeah.
It is well and truly locked.
No bug squeezy between.
I will let you make a thievery check to see if you can get through.
Okay, that's not a good one.
Dexterity, half your level.
Okay, this dice keeps giving it to me. It's not as good. But it's 21.
Okay. You barely are able to squeeze your little buggy swarm self underneath a gap in the floor, but you're like scraping the beetle shells off of everybody, off of all the boys, right? But you do manage to get into there. It seems to be quite a bit like, it seems to be like a larder. There's meat hanging in there. There's all kinds. But here's the thing: there's several cages in there that you're looking at, and what is really creepy is that there are bones all over the place, like bones piled up in the corner. There's also like a live goat in one of the cages. If you make a knowledge nature check with a really low DC, you can probably figure out what kind of bones they are.
Knowledge nature, that's 25.
Okay, there with a 25, I will tell you that you can tell there are animal bones here. There are wolf bones, pretty odd for a ship. There are also cow bones and sheep bones and all of these things, and there are human bones too. And Thora, the human bones that are in there, they have been gnawed on more than all of the other bones in there. And I will also tell you that the bones that have been gnawed on there, the human bones that you see, they're mostly female. Almost all female, and to boot, young female.
Yeah.
If you make a perception check, we'll see what else you might find in there, if there's anything else of interest.
All right, same skill as nature. Here we go. There's the failure. 17 total. I mean, that's with a natural 2, though.
Okay.
His perception is incredibly high.
All right, so you go kind of like just poking around, wandering around this, and you find, like I said, there's a goat in the corner. There's all kinds of meat hanging all over the place. You also find some wolf fur, and it's like fur from like shedding or something.
Yeah. It's from like a winter coat that was falling out as the weather warmed or something like that.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
You're not sure with that check, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it's definitely wolf fur. You've seen it before. Your goddess is called the Wolf Mother.
That's true. Huh. Thank you for reminding me of that and giving me a delicious idea. Okay. Well, Thora, does he check out the top? Because this answered a lot of his questions. No, he would try and get as much information as he could. If he can, he will try and squeeze back out and head up to the barracks.
There's nothing in your way from coming back to any. I mean, the closest porthole is this one over here.
Okay.
So if you want to get back up to the barracks, that's the easiest place to go. Where's he gonna go?
I know. He's so practical, though.
Keep exploring.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, he is practical. He would try and get as much as he could. So he's gonna try and squeeze into the northernmost room and see what he can see.
Over here.
Yes.
Okay. So you come, moving through here, Thora, and right as you stop here, you catch sight of somebody in the stairwell at the bottom of the stairs there. It's one of the sailors, and you are going to have to make a stealth check at disadvantage, so roll twice.
Okay. Okay. This has never happened to me in my life. It's not great, but I did roll 2 12s.
That's different. Are you trained in stealth?
I am not, so it's +5 +2 plus the additional 5 because I'm still in swarm form. Is that still a thing?
Yes, it would be if you were not crossing directly in someone's point of view.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. So that is 19.
Okay.
If I'm doing my math correct.
So the sailor at the bottom of the stairwell is the one that was manning the sails. He spots you immediately and snarls and comes running at you and tries to eat the bugs.
Okay.
Occupational hazard.
It is something
Literally,
something that
he's
has probably happened before.
Running over, picking up, and he tries to grab handfuls of you and shove them in his mouth. Like, hungrily, like he's never eaten before.
Interesting.
So it's either initiative or you let yourself be damaged.
May I forego initiative, take damage, and do something weird?
Of course.
Okay. So I will take the first damage.
Okay. Alrighty, you, my friend, are going to take 9 + 8, 17 points of claw damage.
Okay. That's reduced by 4 because of the swarm form, so that is 13 total. So let me just do my math really quick because I use a calculator because then I don't have to do math. And so like as he's grabbing handfuls of beetles, the beetles start producing berries, and I'm going to cast Good Berry.
Okay.
And I know it doesn't work the same way it does in 5e, but I'm hoping the nourishing magic might sustain him enough that he stops. I'm not guarantee. I don't guarantee it, but really I'm gonna try it.
All right. So all of a sudden, this fruit pops up out of nowhere, and he is so confused at this point. He yells back down to the galley. He goes, "Eh, Mrs. Spindlecut, are you working some kind of spell? You are experimenting with bugs and fruit." And
running for the portal.
Okay. All right. And he looks back and goes, "Is it safe to eat, Mrs. Spindlecut?" And she goes, "What are you blathering about? I've not expelled any fruit, you daft fool." And he goes, but the bugs are making fruit. She's like, Erna, have you been hitting the bottle? Are you tapping the casks?
Is it working? I don't know.
The captain will have your furry ears for this. And he's like, I have no idea what to make of this. And then you start scuttling out towards the porthole, and he is going to chase after you, and you'll take an attack of opportunity as you climb out the hole.
That's fine.
Does a 24 hit your AC?
Only just.
Anything you can do to block that by any chance?
Well, I am in my swarm form. I'll drop my immediate interrupt and take resist 10.
Okay. So he does. Oh, I rolled the wrong dice. Excuse me. 9
He's okay.
plus 4. 14,
This was a dumb plan.
14 points of damage you take, minus whatever for swarm dispersal. So he goes to grab more of you with his hands clawed up and starts like munching on pieces of you. And then as he picks up the bugs, they kind of like disapparate into more bugs through his fingers. And he's like,
Yeah.
and like try and grab more, but you do manage to get out. And he takes off. You see him take off back to Mrs. Spindlecut, presumably to ask her why her bugs make fruit and then turn into more bugs. But Anduriel, while Thora is having this lovely misadventure below, Anduriel, one of the sailors comes up to you. It's not Grinny McGrinnerson because he's having a bug feast below. One of the sailors walks up to you. That was the guy that mends the sails, right, Thora? Isn't that what I said?
Yes.
That was Drake. Okay. So Anduriel, the singer, comes up to you while you're just kind of standing over here by the lifeboat.
Yeah.
And he walks over to you and he says, well, I imagine, and he points to Adelia, you and your wife will be interested in the singing later this afternoon.
And Duriel's just gonna kind of play them at their own game and turn and walk away.
Okay. So he's a little bit startled by how you walk away, but he just walks away and goes back to work. Goes over and checks some of the barrels. Who knows what he was doing before? Walks back and leaves you. And a short time later, Anduriel, the first mate, the one Odelia heard say, I hate priests, stupid clerics. He walks up to you with his manifest and he says, well, I can see by my records here that you and your wife would probably like to, and he says, have a good seat for the singing later this evening. You are
I heard
married.
there was singing.
You are
I heard
married.
there was going to be singing. Will you be bringing your wife as well?
You're not married. There is only one woman aboard the ship, other than your wife, Mrs. Spindlecourt. You are married then.
You're not married to Mrs. Spindlecourt?
All right. He he growls in frustration. He's like, ugh. He's like, the captain and Mrs. Spindlecut are married. I am not married. There is no other woman on this ship, but the halfling. You are married to a halfling?
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. He gets really frustrated. And he's like, he growls and she's like, ah! And he's like, just answer the question. Are you married or not? Is she your wife?
Let me do this. I'm happy to answer your question, by the way. How about we do this? A question for a question. Huh?
Fine.
Question. Is your captain responsible for the ghosts we saw in the water earlier?
What ghosts?
Well, my companion saw quite a few ghosts in the water, asking for help.
Okay, he rolls his eyes at you. And he's like,
No, he isn't, or no... What's...
I highly doubt anyone saw ghosts. You know how many times a month the sailors report they saw a mermaid or a ghost?
Yes, but your crew is rather stupid. My companions are actually very good at what they do, and they saw ghosts.
Then they saw ghosts. How many people die at sea?
Yes. Is your captain responsible for these ghosts?
We are not responsible for any ghosts.
Okay. Yes, I am married to the halfling. We're quite happy.
Okay,
Does Adelia hear this?
make a perception check, Odelia. My gosh.
Hey, at least he didn't call her a dwarf
17.
this time.
Yeah. That's a what?
17.
Oh yeah, you heard the whole conversation. This is not a big ship. You hear the whole conversation.
So I'm envisioning I'm behind the guy that he's talking to, and I'm just like,
He's just gonna roll with like, oh yes, we've been married quite a while. It's very happily actually. She loves the water. I love death. It's great.
those water ghosts are just our kind of like double date night.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So the first mate, McGregor, marches up to the captain and is very animately speaking into his ear, quietly but animatedly.
So
And
he's
just-
gone.
Bro, yeah, he walks right past Odelia and just goes like this, throws up his hands, and the captain nods. And and meanwhile, Thora, you have come up to the porthole and you're over here.
Yeah.
Your bug's on the floor.
Or on the side of the boat at the absolute worst.
Okay.
Like if there's not like an available distraction yet.
Well, there's been quite enough distraction going on, but nobody really, bothers with you at this point.
In that case, he will attempt to reapparate out of sight.
Okay. So what ends up happening is the captain comes down to right over here next to the door to his cabin, and he rings the bell like ding, 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 and up comes Drake up the stairs, up the stairwell, and everybody comes on board, and even Mrs. Spindlecut comes up from down below. And the captain just kind of looks at everybody and he says, well now, he says, I would say that we have definitely reached a point of no return. And all of the sailors just kind of look at each other and they grin these wicked, wicked, wicked grins. And in the distance, you all notice directly ahead of the ship that a thick gray mist has begun to roll in across the waves. And the mist is kind of like it's growing and covering the waves hungrily, reaching out across the water as though it were seeking something. And it billows forth at this unnatural pace. And you notice that someone else has taken the helm and they're steering the boat straight towards it. And all of the crew come up and he says, well, I suppose there's nothing to it, lads. Or, sorry, wrong accent. He says, well, I suppose there is nothing to it, my friends. But time to the feast. All hands on deck. So basically what happens is the crew starts sailing towards they start sailing straight towards the fog or whatever, and they all take their places like at the mast. Captain goes back up, and he goes back up to the helm, and the first mate goes over to the side, like over here where the cargo, hold is. This is the opening into the cargo, and they all kind of like ready, almost like they're going to, I don't know, sail dangerous waters, or like they're going to dock or something. And Mrs. Spindlecut says, "Well, all right, I suppose if we're all ready to business then." And she looks at Odelia and she says, "Now, my dear, would you mind coming me down and giving me a hand in the galley? It certainly will want to fill our bellies before we land."
Land, where? All right. So she'll follow her down there, definitely with the intent of getting more information.
Okay. So Odelia follows her down into the galley. What do the rest of you do? While they're all...
Thora becomes person again.
All right, Thora becomes person. Nobody really seems to be paying attention to you over here.
And Duriel's going to go over by Morocon and congratulate him on doing such a good job on creating a distraction.
All right.
Right
And
to the side
Duriel
of
gets
him.
very wide at that
I have a large brunch and then I go over.
I actually think Thora would head and meet back up with Anduriel and Morocon. And if he can be quiet enough, he's gonna relay all the information. And you notice like a weird disconnect specifically when he talks about all of the young woman's bones versus like all of the animals' bones. There's almost more hate for the animals. It's like pretty even, but like he mentions they were like eating animals, and it's like a little meaner than when he was talking about the people.
He's like, "And can you believe? Then you believe that they hurt wolves? Like, oh my gosh."
They were eating the Earth Mother's children. And it's like, but the people. And he's like, yes, it's terrible.
And
but the
people.
Earth Mother's children. Like,
Okay. Bit of a
Yes,
disconnect.
and people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Share
So
all the information about the wolves and stuff too.
you share the info.
Right.
Any reaction from anybody?
Well, Duriel's just be like, look, we all know something's going on here. And I feel as though whatever's going to happen is going to happen rather quickly. This can't go
I'm
on.
ready.
It's too strange. It's too strange.
I'll be
Indeed,
ready.
This is a very interesting ship we have chartered here.
I'm going to kill Lachlan for arranging this boat.
Yeah.
What a moron.
Okay.
And May 2nd.
I blame Lachlan.
Okay.
We start muttering, cursing Lachlan.
Okay. So Odelia, you come walk through the galley, and Mrs. Spindlecut grabs the kitchen boy and like yanks him and throws him out the door. He goes, "You get out of the way, you little fool. We've business to be about."
Messed up lady.
Why do you have to treat him like that?
She looks at you and she says, "Oh, never you mind, darling. You wee cute little thing, you." And she says, "We've got things to do. And would you go to the cupboard and fetch me one of the cayenne pepper, darling?"
So Odelia gives her a really sketchy look and then goes to find this what she asked for.
Okay, so you go over here to the spice cupboard. Mrs. Spindlecut shuts the door to the galley.
Yeah.
And she looks at you and she says, "Oh, it's a waste, I tell you. It's an absolute waste. I barely had a chance to fatten you up."
At that, Odelia is readying her harpoon.
Okay.
The other shoe hath dropped.
And Mrs. Spindlecut looks at you and she says, "I would have waited a wee bit longer before I took my cleaver to you, dear." And she says, "But the captain has rung the bell, and now is the time." And her kindly cherubic ginger appearance melts away to reveal a vile and disgusting hag. And not just any hag, is it, Odelia? It is a sea hag. The most powerful and the worst kind of hag, and the one that you would know the most about. And at that point, things begin to get ugly.
Are you sure about that?
Like literally, because now she's like really ugly.
She is hideous to behold. She absolutely reeks for one, and for another, she's got seaweed and barnacles like hanging off the side of her. And her cleaver that she was carrying is this filthy, wicked, curved dagger. And she seems to enjoy the look on your face. Is Odelia's expression horrified, or is she just disgusted?
It all goes through her mind very fast that she takes in the situation, is like, "Oh, well, that happened fast," but then is like, "Oh no, I know how to deal with this lady." So like she is angry but confident.
Gotcha. So she's like, "Oh, a sea hag, bring it! The first chapter of my Bible is about you." Be like, no. All right. She looks eager for you as you like grab your harpoon or the Hellfire Lance. Like, bring it, and go ahead and roll initiative, everyone.
Oh boy. Everyone?
Everyone.
Okie dokie. Oh man, worst roll of the night for me.
24.
24, Anduriel.
18.
There it is.
18, Morocon.
What?
Thora?
21. Thora's usually like a 4 on initiative.
Yeah, he's usually like watching.
He's
the whole
usually
time.
like, "I'll be there tomorrow."
Okay. And, oh, that's interesting.
Keep this one safe. This one's doing his due diligence. I love you.
Alrighty. As everybody gets underway, the moment Odelia is gone, right about the same time, gentlemen, you watch all of the sailors step out of their ratty clothing and discover that they are some kind of shape changer.
Okay, Wolfman.
And they're not werewolves, actually.
Not wolves.
Which is actually somewhat interesting. Not that you care who eats you, per se. But they look to be some kind of cross between the creature from the Black Lagoon and some kind of wolf. So if they are lycanthropes, they are not pure werewolf of some kind. If you make a knowledge nature check, I can tell you what they are.
Ooh, that's
I'll
a
go for
natural
it.
20.
Never mind. 30 total.
Okay. All right. With a 20 and a 30, I can tell you that your characters are sure they're lycanthropes, and they're not werewolves. They're what's called sea wolves, and they are kind of like the lycanthropes of the ocean. They are a monster. They're a classic D&D monster, going all the way back to 2nd edition, I think. And if I can just find this 1 second, I will show you a very pretty piece of artwork so you can see what they look like. There's your sea wolf. Everybody get a good look?
I did not
Nope.
see.
No.
I haven't seen it.
I see 2 maps.
That's it? Okay.
Oh,
there it is.
There we go.
Ah,
Well, that's fun.
There
Yes.
he is.
And they look hungry and vicious and like they're coming for you. And so, there you go. All right, Anduriel, my friend,
Gross.
you are the first. They transform gleefully so in front of you,
Okay.
and you are the first to act.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good.
I can do it. It's fine.
You have the captain and first mate up by the helm. You have Grinny Face and Drake, who are over here, and 2 more of the sailors over there. You're looking at a total of 6 sea wolves so far.
Okay, who's next to Grinny Face again?
Drake, the guy on the
Drake.
with the sails.
Okay, so I'm going to, and Duriel's going to take out the Leviathan and go for Mr. Drake.
Okay,
Um,
you gonna move?
yes, sorry, got to move. I'm going to move over next to him. And let me make my attack roll. Yes, so it's just a melee basic, right? It's not, so it targets the AC, right?
Yes, but you can use this with any, like you could use it with Weapon of Divine Protection if you wanted.
Okay. Oh, I can combine Leviathan's Tooth with that.
The Leviathan's Tooth is just a magic item. You can use
Oh.
the magic. You can use the magic of the dagger with any melee attack that you use the dagger with.
Well, my goodness, I think I shall use it with Weapon of Divine Protection.
Okay, and what happens?
Protection.
So I just rolled a 24.
Okay, to hit Mr.
To hit-
Seawolf.
To hit Mr. Seawolf.
Okay, unfortunately, a 24 is a miss.
Oh, Doogie.
Welcome to Paragon tier, my friends.
Well, just hold on now. Hold
Oh,
on.
I'm holding.
I'm going to
Numbers are
use
just bigger.
Memory of 1,000. Or wait, yes, Memory of
Yes.
1,000 Lifetimes to
All right.
try again. Well, I get to add 1 dice 6. So let me roll the dice 6 and see how much I get. That is 5. So 5 additional. Does that hit?
Yes, it does.
Oh, thank goodness. I did not have anything else. All right, so let me roll. So that is 7. That's 14 points of damage.
Okay.
The target is prone and the area is filled in a burst 3, and everyone is pushed out except the wielder.
And you were attacking Samuel or Drake, the guy who mans the sails, or
Right,
Grinny
exactly.
McGritterson? Okay.
No, I was going to attack Drake because if I hit, I was hoping the blast would hit Grinny McGrinnerson.
Eat him off the ship, perhaps.
Alrighty. Okay, so you hit him with the Leviathan's tooth, and what happens?
Okay, so this is Weapon of Divine Protection.
Uh-huh.
So at Duriel, he's like, all right, let's dance. He pulls out the Leviathan's tooth and runs over, jumps in the air, and just lands right on top of the sea wolf and stabs down the Leviathan's tooth into him. And as he does that, everybody on the boat hears this loud screech like a Leviathan, and a loud booms. Boom, boom. And from the epicenter which is Anduriel and the Sea Wolf, there's a burst, and it tosses people who were within 3. It tosses them out, and also gives allies adjacent to me +2 to defenses till end.
All right. And what is the area of effect, Anduriel? How is it a burst 3? You said
3. Yep, burst 3.
All righty. So watch how we do this. And it is centered on this fool, which means it will go like this and like this and like this.
Dang. That is a huge area.
Okay, well, it is a burst 3.
Wow,
it is
that's a lot.
it's a
It is
powerful.
Leviathan.
It is about, but it does stop. It can't go any further than the what do you call it? The mast, yeah, the mizzen mast, as it's known. Can't go any further. However, oh, Mr. Wolf, what happened to
No.
you?
Oh no! Oh my goodness! I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
As always happens when you get shoved off a ledge, you get a chance to make a saving throw to catch the side of the boat, and he does not. So. You slam that dagger
Morocon laughs.
into Drake, and then over the side goes Grayson, and he yelps as he goes over the side, but the sea wolf gets launched into the water, and the other poor Drake, as the Leviathan's tooth, that sound goes like he gets flattened into the ground, and he's like, ugh! Like his face is crushed. And Odelia, you and Mrs. Spindlecut hear the screech, and she looks up and she goes, Leviathan's tooth. Oh, you do carry surprises, don't you, dear? And anyway, little creepy moment there. And that would be Anduriel's turn, unless you're using your action point.
No, I'm gonna hang on to that. But just he is also prone
Okay.
and
He is
restrained.
He is prone and restrained
Yeah, he is.
by the Leviathan spirit. All right. That is Anduriel, and now it is the turn of the wolves. And so, oh, poor wolf. Sorry, I forgot to put him in the water and leave him there. All right, this wolf has a speed of 6, and is gonna go 1. Oh, sorry, big wolf. He is going to go.
He's going to stretch first. Just want to pull a
1,
muscle.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Safety
And-
first.
He is going to use Fury of Daragor, which is the name of the god of werewolves in D&D.
Oh.
He will attack with his bite, or his webbed claw, and with his cutlass on Thora. Thora, my friend, what is your AC?
AC is 21.
Okay, he needs a 6 to hit you, unfortunately.
Great.
All right, so that is 2 hits, unfortunately.
Okay.
Oh, ooh, that's a crappy roll. That's good for you. So 8, 10, 11 plus 13 is 24 points of damage.
Ow.
And you are marked, Thora. And if both attacks hit, the target must take the run action to move as far away from the sea wolf as possible. During this movement, the target provokes attacks of opportunity. So
Whoa.
Thora, you must run from him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you will provoke 2 webbed claw attacks, or 2 cutlass attacks.
Okay.
Miss. One is a miss.
That's wonderful.
Oh, the other one's a miss. They miss
Oh,
you.
yes.
Okay.
How is that possible?
Well, I rolled a 2 and a 4. You see, occasionally I do miss you. But
Ah.
what happens, Thora, is a supernatural fear comes over you as this like fish wolf man like snarls and charges at you. His claws strike you, and as his claw hits you, the cutlass slashes you. You just panic. Like you panic like the lady that runs from the slasher dude in heels, you know, in the dark alley in Halloween. Like You panic like that and run, but you do manage to duck under their blows. However, you are now next to this wolfman, and he is going to use Overwhelming Rend on you.
Oh. That sounds terrible.
And
He's gonna suck.
that is a hit. Oh, once again, could have been worse. You take 29 points of damage and you are knocked prone.
Gah!
And what happens, Thora, is this sea wolf sheathes the cutlass and just goes and like leaps on top of you and starts clawing you, and it gets ugly at that point. And that is his turn. And now this guy Anduriel is flattened, but he's still gonna sweep at you with the cutlass at a -2.
Yep.
And he rolls a 1 and he misses
Oh,
you, Anduriel.
nice.
And the captain, he transforms into, well, not 10 hit points he doesn't transform into, but
No, that's me.
I got
Thora-
you, Thora. Give me a minute.
Thora's looking
Oh,
bad.
dang.
He's looking
Okay.
bad, people.
Okay.
The captain and the first mate, they transform into some kind of a wolf sea lion hybrid form. And they both dive off the side, and that is their turn.
Oh, they dive into the water.
They dive into the water.
Down into the water.
Interesting.
Hopefully neither of them are considering releasing the Kraken. We've quite enough to deal with already.
Alrighty, and that would be, I
One
think.
of the members' names was literally McCracken.
I
So
know, right?
Well,
True.
I mean, you
I'm-
probably.
I thought that was mostly to open me up for that nice dad joke about my dragon, but
That would be the wolves. And now, unfortunately, Odelia, it is Mrs. Spindlecut.
Jeez.
I don't know if I ever gave you my initiative.
Oh, you
roll.
didn't. What did you get? A 10?
Yeah. So I mean, please tell me if I'm before the lady now. That would be great.
Not with a 10. Not with a 10, you're not before the lady. Okay, Odelia. She turns the signature ability of a sea hag on you, and she is going to use her poisonous stare at you. And Odelia, you've studied about sea hags. You don't even have to make a roll. You know that their gaze is so hideous and magical that their gaze itself can kill you.
Fun.
So she
Wonderful.
moves over to here, and you are now in her aura, Odelia. And she gets
Fine.
a 31 versus fortitude. Does that hit your fortitude defense?
ooh,
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yes, it does. Okay, we're just checking here. Alrighty, Odelia, you are going to take 23 points of poison damage.
Oh,
And you-
wait. I
yes.
have resist poison 4 because I have an amulet of health.
Yes,
What's
you
that
do.
mean?
Okay, so it means you take 4 less hit points of damage. So what did I say? 23?
Yeah.
So you only take 19 points of damage. She stares at you, and her eyes glow this sickly green. And Odelia, you take ongoing 10 poison damage, and you're weakened. And that means that you do half damage until you save versus her spell.
Wait, so do I only take 6 because I have my amulet?
Yes. No, yes, that's exactly right. You'll only take 6, but that doesn't happen until the beginning of your turn.
Top of my turn.
Yep. That won't happen until the beginning of your turn. But you are weakened also. Her gaze hits you, Odelia, and you feel sick to your stomach, like you're gonna vomit. Your skin turns pale and green, and things are looking kind of ugly for you. And that would be Mrs. Spindlecut. Now it is Thora.
Thora's mad.
Is he?
Yeah, and I'm technically prone, correct?
You are prone, yes.
How do you save from proneness?
You get up with a move action. It does not provoke an attack of opportunity.
Okay, then I will use my move action to stand.
Okay.
Get all up in this guy's grill. And Thora kind of, like, he's not much for looming, but he's kind of trying to loom on this guy.
Okay.
Because he's a little angry, and by he I mean me. We're gonna be butts. Can I use an action point early to make sure that I get off the special?
You can use an action point, but yes, you can use your action point before your standard, as far as I know.
Beautiful. I'm going to use my action point for this encounter.
Okay.
And as a result, bugs leech from his robes and begin biting the creature before him, and he takes 5 poison damage.
Okay.
And then he does something he's only done once or twice before. Once, unfortunately, to his buddy Anduriel, and he reels his fist back and slams it into this creature.
Okay.
Ah, yes.
The Golem Punch, baby.
You will need to make an attack roll, my friend.
Come on, keep being good to me.
What that?
What is it? What is it?
It was almost a 20. It is in total a 15 plus 12, 27.
That is exactly what you needed to hit, my friend. It targets AC, correct?
Yes.
All right. What it do to him?
Well, he reels back and he thrusts his fist forward, and as he does, the green energy bounces back and forth between his shoulder and his fist, creating momentum, and then it releases, dealing a d20 plus whatever of damage, plus 9.
Okay.
Not great, but not bad. In 19 total.
Okay.
And he is pushed back 2 and knocked prone.
Okay. All right, you knock him back right over the cargo hatch. Just in case anyone's interested. All right, Thora, and he also takes 5 poison damage.
Yep.
Okay. You still have your standard action, my friend.
Yeah. With that, I wonder if this will work. I'm trying to find the right one. I lost it. There it is. Now, does everything work on a 6-second scale in 4th edition like it does in 5th?
What do you mean by a 6-second scale?
So every round is 6 seconds, so everything kind of happens very, very quickly. Okay.
A round is 6 seconds in 4E also.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to work. It is definitely creative and stupid, but I'm going to try it.
That's the best.
Our 2 favorite things.
I just knocked an adversary toward Odelia, which I didn't mean to do. And our good friend Odelia needs some support. So I am going to cast Flowing Swarm, which is a close blast 3, which means it should hit him.
Oh, it'll hit him, yeah.
Oh, okay. If I'm doing my mathy math right. And it targets Fortitude.
All right. Go ahead and make your attack roll, my friend.
And that's still the regular plus 12, correct?
Yep.
Okay, in that case, that is a 25.
That is a hit.
Yay. So I deal 8 13 points of damage. And the effect of Flowing Swarm, if you hit one target, you can shift 4 squares inside the blast, including through enemy spaces, causing them 4 more damage. I would like to occupy his space and carry him down into the hold.
Going to occupy his space and carry him into the hold.
Yeah.
That sounds special to me. Okay,
Ride him down into the hold so I can go help Odelia.
Well, the problem is the hatch is closed right now, my friend. So if you want to carry him down into that hole, you're gonna have to do something to open the hatch.
Well, never mind.
Okay. Do you still want to use Flowing Swarm?
Yes.
Okay.
All
right.
I would like instead then I would like to shift 1 up from where I currently am.
Alrighty. Right up to there?
Yep.
All right. Now you still have your minor action, Thora. Do you want to use Healing Word or eat one of your berries or
I am going to use Healing Word because Cloak of the Walking Wounded allows me to use 2 healing surges per surge.
Ooh.
So I will get 40 plus 3d6.
Very nice. Nice to have magic items, isn't it?
10. So I got 53 back.
Very nice.
I was
Okay,
like,
well.
I don't want Morokhan to heal me if he could smack some people out of the way.
Okay. Okay.
That was the plan, was to
Hey.
heal you after that deluge. Wow.
This
Imagine.
thing is this sea wolf is like like bugs are crawling all over him, and at first Thora like punches him back onto the floor, and like his jaw's like like, and he makes the yelping noise, but then you bugs everywhere, and he's writhing on the floor, smashing at the bugs. Rather, he looks like he's having some kind of a spastic fit, trying to slam all the bugs on the floor as the rage of the swarm druid overcomes him. And there he sits. Thora, having drained the energy out of your arm, you feel the loss of the ley line energy coming out. And you're like, oh my goodness. And little harder to absorb over the ocean, but you'll have to refill. You have to refill that later.
Yeah.
And that is Thora's turn. Morokhan.
Okie dokie. So I will take a minor action to engage Blades of Holy Fire. So,
Okay.
so yeah, I will. I'll do that. Blades of Holy Fire. So I'll do a quick, and every ally, as long as you're within 5 squares of me, you can do an extra 1d6 radiant damage on your attacks.
Nice.
Do you want to move before you do that? Because you could, if you get close enough, even hit Odelia.
Oh.
But you're going to have to move, Morokhan, because she's all the way over here. She's
Okay.
under the captain's cabin. So you may not be able to.
Well,
you
then-
certainly can't push into the Leviathan's tooth, but
Right, but that's okay. I think what I will do then is, because I'm going to be helping Thora here,
okay.
I will go right adjacent to Thora.
Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
Then yeah, engage Blades of Holy Fire.
Okay. Odelia, your harpoon bursts into flames.
So yeah, so I'll do that, and then I will. What do I want to do? I want to do. I will do a warning strike against this guy. So I run up next to Thora. I burst into light, and then with an interesting kata of swoops, I will smash this guy with a 30 to hit against
Oh.
AC.
That would hit. All right, you clock him.
That should do it. That should do the trick.
Oh yes. Okay.
Very nice roll.
All right, let's do this. So this is. Oh, I forgot that. I'm rolling 3 dice here. And that was a very poopy roll. Ugh. Okay.
No.
So it's 15 damage. Ugh, it makes me sad. Okay, so it's 15 damage, but whenever this guy shifts or makes an attack that does not include me, I attack of opportunity against him with some wonderful bonuses.
All right, warding strike, blades of holy fire, and he has taken quite the beating. He is definitely bloodied at this point, gentlemen. So he's taken quite the beating. He still looks pretty hardy, but he can't. He yelps out and like he howls, and since he's a sea wolf, it's a literal howl. It's like,
Okay.
there's bugs everywhere.
Which sailor is this one?
This is Canterwell. Not that
Okay.
you learned many of their names, but this is Canterwell. He's the hardworking chap that was over there mending the rope, and now he's at work plucking bugs off him and getting socked by an enormous dragonborn.
As
So
an
he's-
immediate reaction.
Ooh,
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, he's under there. First of all, he's yelping and trying to get the bugs off, and he starts like lifting himself up on his elbows, and Morocon comes over and goes, "Gachoo!" like decks him in the face, and he slams back into the deck.
Oh,
Man.
you know what? Actually, I'll add a stone fist damage to that, so an extra 6 damage.
Did you add your holy fire?
Oh my gosh, no, I didn't.
Oh
That's
my god,
1d6.
I just realized I was trying to find this ability. It's under my action point. Everybody gets +2 to all defenses until the end of the encounter because of my action point.
Oh,
snap,
dude.
Jonathan.
Very
Come on
nice.
now. That's
Oh.
awesome.
Wait, how
I
does
was
that
like-
work? Just to your AC, or how does that work?
It says 2 defenses, so I'm guessing it's to everything?
Yeah, that's all
Oh.
defenses.
He's
Oh,
a giver.
dude.
He's a giver.
Okay.
You're welcome, Chef Kiss from the Italian love over here.
All right. All right. I would just write that on your character sheet. Little +2 to those defenses. You're gonna want that.
Ooh, that's amazing.
Okay.
Or
Morocon.
Julia is just like all of a sudden feels stronger, and her thing is on fire, and she's like, I think stuff's going on up there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you heard the thud of one of them hitting the hold, and you definitely heard the Leviathan's tooth crash into the deck.
That sounds
So-
familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, is that the end, Morocon?
So yeah, +2 radiant and fire damage to this dude.
Okay, so 8 more points of damage to him.
Right.
He wants to be your special friend. Okay, Anduriel,
That's it.
immediate reaction?
As an immediate reaction, since he is bloodied, I'm going to use Grave Chill.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I'm going to shift over to 17, basically flanking with Thora.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
boy.
I get to attack him. Again, I'm going to make an attack versus fortitude.
Well, why don't you do that now?
I think I shall. Well now, that's not too bad. This is not a vampire attack, so my bonus is not that one. It's the weapon attack, and it's just melee basic.
Okay.
So that is 26.
That is a miss, except you have combat advantage, unless you already factored it in.
I did not already factor it in.
So that was a 28, and you hit.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an encounter power. I'm going to mark that off.
Bring him down.
Okay, let me roll damage.
Come on.
Oh, that wasn't great. 7 plus 13 points of damage.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's
kind
a
of
close
damage?
burst one. It's a close burst one. It's not typed. It's just
Okay.
weapon damage.
Okay.
And then targets dazed and immobilized till end.
This guy's life sucks.
Dang.
So he can't move, even if he was of a mind to move, which is really sad for him. And alrighty. So, whoa, my goodness. All right. So Anduriel, drawn by the looming specter of death, Anduriel kind of like fades into a shadowy form and just kind of slides through the air and solidifies and buries his dagger in the sea wolf's shoulder, and it's yelping like, like, you know, and like, what did I do to deserve this? Well, you ate wolves and children, which was, and women. Yeah. Now it would be Odelia's turn. Miss Odelia.
Okay. Can I
Take some damage? Yes, you can, because you are poisoned. So you take 4 points of poison, or 6 points of poison damage from her glare, and additionally, you are in the aura of her ghastly visage. So you also take 10 psychic damage.
Jeez.
Don't like that at all.
Just being near her is just making you so sick.
Do I get to try and save?
At the end of your turn, you can, yes.
Oh, at the end of my turn. Okay, and I'm weakened. So how does that affect my attacks? Only do half.
You roll your damage, whatever it is. We'll add it all up and then divide by 2.
Okay, with my Hellfire Rage Lance, can I use that in addition to like my Barbarian Rage attack? Okay.
You can.
Odelia knows the situation that she's in right now, and she is mad, and she is going to pull out all the stops. So she enters the Hellfire Rage and the Mama Bear Rage, which is quite a thing.
So much rage.
So much rage from such a tiny body. She yells, I thought we were going to be friends! She just stabs at her with the Hellfire Lance, which is also going with it's her harpoon, you know, so it's also glowing with the radiant damage from Morricon.
Okay.
Okay, here we go, people. Cross your fingers. Say your prayers. That is a 30.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a hit, Miss Odelia.
Lay the smack down.
Okay.
And coming off the top ropes, it's Odelia.
And I need this one. And oh, wait, okay, let's see here. 2d10 plus 9 for the Mama Bear Rage. And then the extra 1d6 plus 3 for the Hellfire Lance. Is that all?
Yep.
Is that right?
And then 1d6 from Holy Blades of Fire.
Oh, yeah. All right.
That's a fistful of dice.
Yeah.
14, 23, 26. And she is grabbed.
Okay. Unfortunately, that is only 13 because you are weakened in her presence right now.
Oh.
Boo.
All right. Would you like to stay where you are, or do you want to use your action point?
Oh,
How
let's see
dare
here.
you restrain
For
the
my
mama?
action point.
Oh, she
I'm
means
going-
business right now.
I'm gonna hang on to my action point for
Okay.
until I find some allies.
All right. So the only person I have who's used their action point so far is Thora, correct?
Yep.
Indeed. Yep.
Okay. I'm just making my notes for the next time because that's gonna.
Oh, do I need to save?
Yes. Go ahead and save. 10 on a 1d10, or a 1d20. Sorry.
Save.
Come on,
Don't
Odelia.
suppose I have any modifier or
I don't know. Look at your utility powers. That's where you would probably have something to help us save.
powers.
I have something I can throw at you next round.
Yeah, as do I.
I do not.
No, okay. For the save against that, do you have any?
Bonuses? No, it's just a 1d10. It's a 10 or higher on a 1d20 is.
It's a 6.
All right. Unfortunately, that is a fail, Odelia. So you still have the ongoing poison damage on you.
But she's grabbed, so when she hits her
Yes.
turn, she also starts with damage.
Yes, she does. Okay.
Yeah.
So she gets near you and you feel sick, and Odelia, everybody hears Odelia scream from under, I thought we were gonna be friends. And then you hear a "Ugh!" like the sound of somebody getting scared. And that is what you hear. And you kind of, Odelia, skewer her on your Hellfire Lance and pin her back up against into the wall of the galley. And she screams at you and she says, I eat priests of Moiras for breakfast. And then she goes, as you shove your spear in harder and grab onto her. And you're going to hold on to your action point. You still have a minor action, Odelia. Would you like to use a healing power on yourself or any of your utilities that are minor actions?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right. And that, my friends, will bring us to the end of our evening. A good, nice long section. And I will go ahead and stop the screen share. And that was a good long session, and that was quite an interesting encounter. Any thoughts or comments as we wrap up here?
That was intense, fellas.
It's good to be back in Thora's shoes.
We got there again, didn't we? Woo.
Yes, we
Oh,
did.
man.
All kinds of trouble as per usual.
Yeah, you picked a fight. So here on our show, we like to, since we are a clerical party and we did the Holy Rollers, we like to end on a positive thought. Oftentimes this is a spiritual thought or a scripture. So if anybody is joining us on Facebook, you are welcome to stick around for our positive thought. If that's not your thing, feel free to bow out now or turn off the video, whatever pleases you, or you can stay with us. And I think JT, you have it tonight, right?
I do. And I heard a story was related to me recently, because I was speaking with a friend at work and talking about sort of kind of just how sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it just feels like there's a lot of divisiveness in the world, people aren't friends. and that's sad. And I thought, has there been a time in history that's ever been kind of like this? And he told this story of during the 70s, kind of during Vietnam. It was kind of similar to where there was a lot of contention and a lot of unrest going on amongst people. And he related this story of a family in California, a man and his son, who were driving down a road and their car broke down. And they were kind of from a very urban metropolitan area, and they were driving through this very kind of rural area. And they knew it was about 9 miles to the next gas station or service station. So they started walking, and a truck pulled up, and the person in the truck offered to help, take them into town. He not only took them into town, he arranged to get a tow truck. And the whole time, the father of this young man was going, okay, how am I gonna pay for this help that he's giving me? And so they ended up getting the person's car towed into town. It was a Sunday, and the mechanic shop was closed. And so the person who gave them the ride home rousted the local mechanic from their home, and happy to come and help fix the car. They figured out what was wrong, and they didn't have the part at the mechanic shop. So they went to the parts store, which was also closed. But this being a small community, they were able to go to the parts store owner's home, roused him, and the whole time these services were being provided. And the man said, can we work out some kind of payment? I don't feel right taking, this charity. And I said, no, it's okay. And they ended up letting him load watermelons for the afternoon to pay for the part and the service. And as they were walking away, the farmer said, well, now hold on a second. And the man thought, okay, here we go. Here comes the other shoe. It's going to drop. They're going to talk to me about how much it costs for all this stuff. And he said, okay, what is it? I said, no. Why don't you come over to our house? My wife's made dinner. We'd love to have you come for dinner. And so they went and they enjoyed a meal. What stuck with this young man, the son of the man whose car broke down, was that night when they got home, as he was laying in bed, his father walked by the door and stopped. And he turned to his son and said, I don't care what the news says. I don't care what you hear from other people. There are more people like that in this world than there are like the people that we hear about. And that stuck with me. I because that's what I believe. And I believe that there are more good people in the world. There are more conscious people in this world than there are people out to do damage or do harm. And so I think it's just refreshing to kind of look at people through that lens before we start to kind of put up our walls. And so that would be my kind of consider that there are more good people out there and people who are willing to help go the extra mile than there are people who mean you harm. And that's kind of all I wanted to share with you tonight.
That's very nice. I loved that. I think I needed to hear that. I could definitely work on presuming positive intentions and thinking better of the human race or God's children, however you want to refer to them overall. Any other accompanying thoughts?
It's often like there's a word for it. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but like another perfect example is you never judge a book by its cover. The ugliest one of the ugliest covers I have ever seen is an old like first edition of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like it's hideous. It's absolutely disgusting. But it's one of the best books ever written. So no matter what somebody looks like, no matter what they say, well, unless they say something mean, no matter how they dress, no matter what kind of car they drive, just remember, like, you could literally be in that same person's shoes and still be good. The vocal minority is the ones that scream the loudest. And the silent majority is the one that cares the most. I think that's something my dad said once.
Love it. Any other thoughts?
I think you hardly ever regret giving someone the benefit of the doubt where human relationships are concerned. Giving people grace and a chance to grow.
I love that. Well, that brings us to the end of our evening. If anybody was with us on live stream, which I didn't check because I don't know how to do it yet. So if anybody joined us, awesome. And if anybody watches it later, thank you for with us and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.